notifications on Twitter. Let's get all that good jazz up in here. One day I'll have this down. I totally timed it, and it still takes forever.
I just got the notification saying you're going live.
Beautiful. Gotta check all the audios and stuff.
Oh, shit. I need to turn off my volume.
Mic check 1 2 1 2.
Yo.
Hello, hello.
Who is low? Who is high? I think Vex is gonna be low on the audio.
All right, hold on.
Why is that?
Let me fix him.
I think I don't know. How do I sound?
You sound fine to me.
So
what about me?
It's up to people. You sound good too.
Cool.
Vexed is low. I raised him. Let me know, guys. I always appreciate it. And hello, everybody. Once again, while I set this up, I want to hear the best part of your day, bitches. Why am I so mean to people? Yeah, bitch, tell me your day, motherfucker.
Remember you said this was made for kids?
Yeah, that's right. So
not even 5
up,
seconds.
Actually, did you tweet out the thing you tweeted out doesn't have a link on it?
Yeah, what are you doing?
No, it's not. I'm doing that right now, bitches. I always do it at the end.
I put one out with.
I haven't learned the way. I haven't learned the way to get the link yet. I don't know the masterful ways. All right, all right. I got this. You'll see. You'll all see.
Folks in the chat, how's the volume?
Yes. How's like the audio volume, and then also how's the volume 7 so far to everybody?
Yes. Spoilers, guys. Spoilers.
Yeah.
No, screw that. Just tell me my volume level.
Starting off right.
Yeah, forget the show. How do I sound?
The most important thing.
That's most important in regard to this damn stream, for sure.
Yes, exactly. Yes, you're the best, and we need to hear every bit of your audio.
Thank you. Oh, him. Okay.
No, I'm talking about all of our audio, and not just. I'm talking about me myself.
All right. Looks like Raymond's going to be joining us shortly. I'm almost done with the setup.
We sound fine. All right, we can talk about the chapter now.
Beautiful. Right. Damn. All right, you know what? Go ahead while I tell people out there in the world. You guys want to start? Sounds like you're itching. Sounds like you're twitching. Let's go.
I'm totally itching.
The airplane ride from hell.
Amazing, Rag. Amazing. Usually we give people like 5 minutes to like join, but yeah, let's go for it. Let's go straight Tyrion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this. Are we talking about chapter 12?
Yeah, I think we're doing 11 and 12.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Oh, cool.
You can start with 12 if you want.
Okay. Well, the chapter 11 part threw me off. I wasn't expecting to talk about chapter 11. We can.
No, same. I want to because that fight.
See, the problem with starting with chapter 11 is I saw chapter 12. and I love chapter 11. It's one of the best chapters of the entire series. The problem is I've seen chapter 12. So it's kind of like, okay, we can talk about chapter 11. I can talk about all the good things I liked about it. But I saw chapter 12. No.
So did you see chapter 12? I wasn't sure.
I did.
Oh, wow, okay.
And I I watched chapter 12.
Oh, wow.
I was very emotional. I was very emotional about it. And then after a while, some time has passed since I've seen chapter 12. I was able to sit on it, think about it, relax my mind, watch it a couple more times. Mm-hmm. And I can say now that I take back absolutely nothing. In fact, I'm doubling down, I'm tripling down on the nonsense. If we're going to talk about chapter 12, let's talk about it now, or we can talk about chapter 11. I don't want to dictate the whole entire stream. So Dash, you tell us. Are we talking?
You don't want to dictate. It's too late, bitch.
Okay, chapter 12. Chapter 12. Okay.
You're passionate about
12 right now. You were itching.
Let's start
you
with,
couldn't sit down.
Let's start with 12.
All right, chapter 12 is a dumpster fire. It's nonsensical.
Hello,
it's disappointing
Raymond.
On many levels. Probably because I thought I did a whole entire stream about it, and I didn't even know where that was going. I didn't take any notes. I just went off on that chapter. It was bad. The writing is terrible. The fight sequences are solid in a vacuum, but the story points, the logic, no one's making any sense. You got Robin acting crazy in the ship, in the airship for no damn reason. Yeah. You got Crow teaming up with freaking Tyrion. You got RWBY going from a class C huntress to beating kicking the best the best of the best of the huntresses and huntsmen in Atlas. It's all bad. Yeah.
Well, that's like your opinion.
Of course.
Yeah,
That's why we're
bring
here,
out
guys.
let's bring out the
And
dude in here.
An objective opinion. No.
Uh-oh.
The best
Oh,
kind.
Also, I just registered in my head that was Raymond. What's up, Raymond? How you doing?
Hi, how's it going? I just got. Are we live?
Yes, we are.
Yeah,
we
we're
are.
live.
We are live on YouTube.
We're live and we're
There's-
starting
I'm not
right
seeing
off
a
with the
link.
spice.
I'm not seeing a link, so I mean, like that's a problem. And I guess I'll just go straight to
Isn't
dashes.
it in the
I put it in the
right now?
chat.
Oh no, it's not an accumulation. The thing in accumulation. Oh yeah,
I did
no, there
put
is.
it.
I see it.
I did
see it.
put
There
it
it
just
is.
now.
Yeah, it's an
Yeah,
accumulation.
well, there's some of the like some of these are like tweets. Some of them are not, and like the one that I got, it didn't have. It was weird.
Well, I'll get there, okay? And first of all, hello, viewers. Hello out there, Master Poppers. Floof, I see you. Blades Chajuru, hello. You can. I haven't seen that name. You better stay. David, I see you too. Hello. Oh, I'm trying to read everybody here. Media. Then James. Oh, film. Everybody freaking love. So, thank you. Welcome. Thank you. Now, get ready for a shit show. Let's go.
Let's go.
Okay, so where are we in the conversation
We're
exactly?
talking
literally
about
just
how
started.
shit chapter
Yeah.
12 is.
As you can tell, Vexed is vexed and twitching.
Yeah,
And he can't
yeah,
sit down. He's worse than Tyrion over there on the floor.
It's very interesting because I just had like yesterday. We were going to do it back to back actually, but yesterday I had a conversation with the Reaper Seifert about this for his podcast, and there was a lot about this episode that like in the moment didn't register as really bad. I mean, it's very obvious our reaction was entirely positive. At least it seems that way from the outside in.
Yeah, it pissed me off. I'm
I
joking.
just got the notification.
No. The one comment that said, you know, oh, I'm. Why am I? Oh no, hold on. The one comment that said, oh, frostbite, we love it. Everyone else, wait, that's illegal.
Wait, that's illegal. It is.
But
You didn't follow the reaction script. Everyone knows there's a reaction script.
Yes.
Yes.
But
I forgot it
what,
in my
what I akin this to is it feels very much like vintage RWBY, like going back to volumes 1 through yeah. Hi, let's watch. How's it going? Between volumes 1 and 3, it feels very much kind of in that vein of we don't care about the story and we just want high octane action and
Sure.
like the ideas you present make sense. The way it's presented doesn't. So the idea is let's make this situation that's very morally conflicted, and they set that up pretty pretty well. And then yes, hi Janice, how's it going? Everyone subscribing.
Keep going.
Come on, Raymond. Come on.
Yeah, sorry. But basically, they said this really good moral conundrum, and then the fallout of that is supposed to basically make all the good guys fight each other. I got that. It's just that the delivery on that was terrible. In the circumstance of Crow, Tyrion, Clover, and Robin, it was delivery in the moment that I thought was a failure. Meanwhile, when it came to Jesus Christ,
I know.
everyone.
Let me just say, just keep talking. That's why I'm whispering.
And then with RWBY versus the Aesops, the issue I had was that we were missing an important plot beat somewhere in the middle of the volume to really establish the rivalry that we see expanded upon here, and to have the characters grow after. So, like the greatest equivalent I could bring up that I brought up and I came up with on the fly for Reaper's stream was that we needed a fight, like a sparring match or something between RWBY and the Aesops, where RWBY, during that, on each team, one person was injured. And following their moral sensibilities, the Aesops cut their losses of that injured member and ended up succeeding. And then RWBY didn't cut their losses. They huddled around their injured ally and protected them in order to try and win the fight, and they lost. And from that, you have the two. You have RWBY losing and their morals being challenged by the fact that, hey, we cut our losses and we won, and it ended up being this whole, like, not only did it establish the rivalry with the Aesops, it would help establish all the characters that we saw set up to establish what the characters did in this fight. It would establish, it could establish the themes of the volume of like cut and run or stay and fight. It could establish the skill change of Team RWBY. You know, because like in this argument, Team RWBY hasn't been outfitted with their new equipment yet, which I think was an issue with the volume as a whole. Was that they got re-equipped with new equipment way too quickly. I think they really rushed
That's the
into that.
thing with
Yeah.
Rooster Teeth. We don't know how long passed, how much time passed. I wish we knew
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I think in terms of like the best description I can think of is like I can understand the destination of what they're trying to do with certain plot points, like with setting up the situation with how episode 12 ended and the end result of the Team RWBY versus Aesop's fight. I can get the destination of that, but I think the it's kind of like when you're following a map and the destination is there, but the road is so bumpy and so muddy that you have a hard time keeping track of it, where you wish that it was a bit smoother.
Okay, yeah.
Like I could definitely see where there definitely needed to be some expanding on, like you said, with maybe a sparring session beforehand and something that would at least give a bit more credibility than just a montage shot
Yeah.
that we had, which was fine enough, but it felt like almost like the first sampling.
Vex is
Okay,
over there
Reaper's-
trying to sneak in here. Let's go. What
Reaper's
do you got?
point was that it felt like this volume should be two separate volumes, and that they basically took two volumes and smushed them into one. That was his take on things, sort of.
Team RWBY should not be this version of the Aesops. If you're gonna go back and change the story, sure, and make the Aesops not be the best of the damn huntsmen in Atlas, making them the best of the world, fine. If you want to change the Aesops completely, fine. But this version of the Aesops, and there's no scenario where these four winches should beat them at all. I'm sorry, it should not happen. What's the explanation they gave us? They literally had RWBY say, she says, what did Harry say? We're the best hunchmen in Atlas. Yeah, you were, but then you trained us.
You trained us.
Get the fuck out of here with that trash. It's trash. There's no.
So it's absolutely impossible for them to.
You're trying to tell me that they were trained by these elite huntsmen, which means they know how they trained them, so they know how they operate, they know how all the simplicities, how they all the symptoms work and all that crap, right? They trained them over the course of a month, because I'm not sure how long they've been in Atlas. Let's say a month, right? Of course, a month. The trainees kicked the master's ass.
That's the problem right there. That's what I'm saying is we don't know how long we had. We don't know. If we had
we don't know what the time skip, the montage in Volume 5 was. We don't know how long that was.
I want to raise a point here that conceptually it doesn't it makes sense conceptually that Team RWBY would actually be able to beat the Aesops. Now allow me to lay down an argument.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Team RWBY have been quote unquote active huntsmen since, let's say, around the middle of Volume 2, when they went to Mountain Glen. Mountain Glen was their first real taste of serious huntsmancy. You can maybe even push that back even further to episode 8, but I wouldn't go that far. But they had a taste of it then, and they really started working up. They started going on missions. They stopped an entire invasion of a city. They tried to stave off the invasion of the entirety of Vale and of Beacon. They fought in winter. They fought basically borderline maidens, or at least Pyrrha did, and they've gotten close to it effectively. They've basically been through the events of the entire series. And if you go from the idea that all of that made sense, if you were to assume all of that made sense and they won through their skill and intelligence and all that stuff,
but it didn't.
If you add all that up, then them being then trained further by Aesops, who, theoretically speaking, we don't know what kind of combat experience they've had beyond Grim. Meanwhile, RWBY's been off over here fighting human combatants on the regular. Not in training, but in actual seriousness. I mean, they took down Adam Taurus. If you look at all that conceptually, it makes sense that the writers would believe that in this circumstance, Team RWBY deserved to win. My biggest complaint is execution, and I think that's a fair complaint.
I disagree.
I think one thing to also take into account is like you said, we don't know the history of the battles that the Aesops have had. We don't know like what they've had to face, bar just like the academy training and dealing with criminals
That's
and
a
the
good point.
Grim.
We don't know enough
What-
about the
what-
Aesops for it to matter.
And one other thing is like people raise the claim that's like RWBY can't seriously believe that they are now the best in Atlas. At the same time, do Harriet really think that the Aesops are the best because you got Penny and you got Winter, two people who I think could be equal with them or even better. But-
Alone.
Yeah, exactly. Now that could be disputed, obviously, because we are taking from what we know of Penny and Winter, and again, we don't know much about the actual experience of the Aesops.
Do you
I'm a-
guys? Okay, go. Keep going. Go ahead, keep going.
I would also say that like yes, I can definitely understand is like if you like rule out every single kind of almost like a death battle situation where you look at all the possible ways that the fight could have gone down, maybe the more wins would go towards the Aesops. I think at least from the reasons they gave, I can see why each person lost. The quality of it can be disputed, but I do get the reasons why each one lost because they had some weaknesses taken advantage of. They've had some issues that were raised up in this one, and there are some themes that were touched on or set up across the volume, but not enough for them to actually have as big a staple impact on the story as they probably should have.
And
I'm gonna
whenever
let
you're ready, I'm ready to
Fatman-
talk
I'm
about
gonna let-
Marrow, but after Vex, please.
That man go before I continue. Can I
Go,
hear
Fatman.
Yeah, you were saying that like running like like the greatest or the deadliest warrior simulation, that more wins might go to the Aesops, and I honestly don't think so based on what we saw of that.
I just said
of
this
that-
like as a could, but yeah, it could.
Yeah, like they were mostly just getting their shit pushed in the whole fight. Like
They didn't have a scratch on them.
especially Marrow, who
Oh,
I
my-
mean
Well,
could've-
I have something to say about Marrow.
yeah.
Not only
and-
did I say it in the reaction, which was he was troubled. He wasn't
Yeah.
even like conflicted. He was troubled. He was really upset. And
you can
he's a
definitely say
rookie.
that Marrow wasn't was
And-
the one of the Aesops who didn't give 100%.
Right. No, he was a rookie. He is a rookie. And he still, yeah, could he have forgotten about that? Maybe, because guess what? It's tense. And dogs are loyal. And I don't know. I'm just trying to add some dog shit in there. But,
Do you guys-
but let me finish. Thank you.
Stay.
Stay. Nice. Oh, fuck. I knew that was going to happen. Vexed. Oh. I lost it. And it's gone. Basically, he's a good boy. He's a little boy. And I was going somewhere. I'll if I think about it, I'll say it.
You'll get it back. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember the thing called RWBY Volume 5?
No.
No.
Unfortunately, at some points, yes.
Do you guys
Yeah,
remember this
somebody
thing?
made half a review to that volume. Fuck that guy.
For all those who don't know, that was Fatman.
Oh, man. Do you guys remember the thing called the Battle of Haven?
Yeah.
Do you guys know how Team RWBY were a part of that fight, right?
All right. Get on with it.
You remember how trash these girls are? Yang was an embarrassment. Weiss was an embarrassment. They're all fucking embarrassments. Now you tell me those same girls, of the course of one goddamn montage, are taking these girls out?
I chalk that up mostly to how the fights were actually choreographed, for one thing.
You chop Weiss turning her back to the enemy and trying to summon with a back turn.
Vex, you gotta get people.
You're seeing this wrong. You're seeing this wrong. You have to see it from the perspective of the writers of the volume. I get how it perceives to the audience. We understand that RWBY has flaws and that they have not fully established Team RWBY as this badass fighting unit.
Correct.
How they haven't done this. But you have to see it from the perspective of the writers. You have to look think if you were Miles and Carrie, all right, and don't try to commit suicide. Right?
See, you guys don't have your bullshit goggles on.
Oh,
This
okay.
has to
I got
put-
you. That's all right.
This was them establishing that Team RWBY are the best.
No. Fatman, you got it wrong.
No. This was the moment.
No,
Let
this
me
is
finish.
this is their moment. This is their moment of establishing the finality of it. Like they were like, okay, we've built up all these girls. They've been through all these different things. They've done all these crazy things over the years. They fought so many enemies. And you know what? We're going to make them, the best in all of Atlas by beating the Aesops, and it's going to be super bad. It's going to be a real hell yeah moment for our heroes. Even though it's really bad in the long run, it's still that little bit of vindication to give people hope. That's what Miles and Kerry were thinking. And I respect them trying. In a more competent show, I would be completely on board with this. And that's why I was able to turn my brain off during this, because I think at this point, all three, me, Fatman, well, Dashi's always been on board with RWBY, so I'm not gonna. Me and Fatman were able to enjoy this because we've come to peace with what RWBY is, and so we can kind of look past it to see, yeah, that was dope. And then at the same time, on reflection, we're like, man, that was fucking stupid, but that was still kind of cool. But it was really freaking stupid.
I think also one thing needs to be taken into consideration. Like, obviously, we got one more episode to go. We don't know what the ramifications are going to be. The fact that, we got this incoming army, and we've just taken out 4 people who could definitely give us a good hand in this situation. I think there's definitely, going along with the theme of consequence, there is going to be a consequence to this result.
Dan just grew rainbow hair all of a sudden, because that's my life with these boys. We don't know yet. We don't know yet.
You don't know yet. Sorry, reflex.
and I also just like, I know it's not like something that we've mentioned already, but I've seen it elsewhere. It's like people like complain like the moves that they didn't do. Like Marrow should have just used stay on all of them. It's like, logically he should.
Yeah.
Logically,
he's the guy who didn't want to fight, and he was the one guy who could have stopped them from fighting. And
Correct.
But here's the thing. Logically, yes. When you look at it from like at a standpoint, yes, that's what he should have done. But then you also don't have the fight. You don't have how the fight affects the story. You're basically taking out something that should be affecting the narrative just for something that would obviously make sense, but it doesn't aid the story.
Well,
this is what should have happened. Meryl should have flipped on the Aesops and told the Aesop to stay and say, "RWBY, escape!" Boom. Then you have a chase situation where they're chasing after them.
Also, again, you're also avoiding like whatever impact the Aesop's being defeated is going to have on the story.
You just have to change. You just have to write. You have to write something different. Just change the story. You change the story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to go how it went.
Yeah. This is the corner. It's like they have like the roadmap of where episode 13 needs to be, or where the future volumes need to be. And this was them going, oh shit, that doesn't make sense. We got to just force it for this episode.
Correct.
Like this is a problem with planning ahead, I think. There's like what are the 2 types of writers? The roadmap and then the gardener?
There's the gardener and then the architect.
Yeah, the gardener and the architect. Like, this is one of the biggest problems with like architect style writing, is that you have a much higher probability of something just needing to be forced. Like they needed the Aesops to be defeated, and then they needed Marrow to forget that he had this power so that they could have the fight. Whereas if they were like Gardner writing this, then they would have had Marrow and then do his thing, and then something different would have happened.
Correct.
Like, this is where actually developing the story as you're writing would have forced them to be more creative.
I think
what I suggested, I think in the reaction, might have been in the reaction, was just have him do it, and then have, do it on everybody, not just Team RWBY, but do it on all of them, and then have that like wear him out.
Well, if he did that to everyone, he can't move, so it basically just be like, oh well, then I would just have to turn it off, and then we're right back to square one.
I kind of
at least
pointed
he
that
would
out.
have tried.
Yeah.
Like that would have been the lowest hurt. The lowest effort ass pull, I guess.
Yeah, but he's a rookie once again, and he can't think that fast. I don't think. He's scared.
I think one scene that could have definitely helped, like we were talking before, like having a sparring session scene to further emphasize like the teaching and the training. I would have liked to have had one scene in the past where we had an example or a hint to Harriet's doubts about the kids, because she had that one bit where she's like, I had you paid from the start, and I can get that. I can get that because she does seem to be a very judgmental person, at least in terms of like judging people in an instant. But it didn't seem like going off like how, like saying in the Dust Mine, she had some good respect for Ruby when she outpaced her. She seemed very friendly. She seemed very positive.
You know what? You're
It
right.
didn't
Yeah,
quite.
that was out
It
of
didn't
nowhere,
quite.
wasn't it?
And
It didn't quite seem to match. If we had like one scene where maybe if she said, you know, I had my doubts about you guys, or something like that, and then that would have at least fed into that a little bit better.
what was even worse was Elm's reaction when all Yang said was, "Oh, you're being loyal." He said, "You bitch," basically, and threw Blake away after having Blake pinned for no goddamn reason. This
I
plot
think that-
stupidity left and right.
I think that works kinda because we've established in the past slightly that Elm is very hot-headed, kind of like Noah, where she reacts. She doesn't have a filter on her emotions.
She doesn't have filter on words, but when has she ever acted irrationally or crazy?
She's one of those like happy-go-lucky like giant figures. Like, I don't know why I say giant figure, but like,
Do you see
know,
what's
one of
happening
those,
here,
like,
guys?
hold on a second. One of those like oh my god, are you serious? It's gone. Vexifer Newton. I don't know why I'm calling you this.
You have a problem. You have a problem.
I do have a problem. I've stated that to you. Please let me
I'm sorry, I
finish.
didn't know that. So go ahead.
Go on.
It'll come back to you. Yeah. But see what we're doing here? Mero was being stupid, blah blah blah. Ellen being stupid, blah blah blah. We keep trying to make up solve these issues in our heads when we shouldn't have to do that. You see what I'm saying? Elm should not have thrown Blake away. Okay,
She shouldn't have.
Meryl should have used his semblance like a smart person.
I
100%
disagree.
disagree.
I disagree with that because here's the thing: when he uses his semblance, everything they do is slowed down. That includes talking. So
We're
here's
not
the thing:
sure about that, but that makes sense though. We're not sure,
Yeah,
but
it
that
makes
makes
sense.
sense.
Here we go again. We're acting
So if he slowed
Vexifer?
them down, the actual conversations they would have, would they be effective? I mean, because we never seen anyone try to speak while they're slowed, and like when you saw Weiss's mouth moved slower, so I imagine it slows down everything.
No, we did, because when they were running towards him in the election thing, they were like,
Yeah.
We did.
Stop, or at least they muted down, like it was
like
slowing
what?
down.
Hello, Daddy.
So it's not adding things on.
Hi, finally, where you been?
If Mero didn't want to fight, which you clearly didn't, you say stay and have you have Harriet run around and arrest her real quick, and then the fight's over.
But then we're going back to that same issue, like we don't get the fight.
I don't think Mero wanted to arrest them. That's the thing. I think Mero wanted them to work with them. I think he was hoping for a solution where Ruby still worked with the Aesops as allies and not as prisoners. And
He wanted to calm down the tempers. He wanted to calm down the emotions. And if that had to come down to maybe bashing in the heads a few times, just a little bit, not using excessive force, then that would be another avenue. Because he tried not having the fight, and he tried to calm down the emotions. Didn't work out.
Okay.
There's a lot behind it, and as far as like what you were saying, Vex, like we shouldn't have to be doing this in our heads. I just that's loud. Hey, Sonic. We shouldn't have to be doing that, but that's part of watching a show. It's you interpret it in certain ways, and that's part of having. People, I swear, are you doing this on purpose so I forget? Because it's working. Joe A. Ryder.
So people just get power scaling all willy nilly. People doing
Not at all.
stuff
I never said that, sir. No, I
I
never said that.
I'm not saying you. I'm just saying we just have to make everything work. Yeah, power scaling all over the place. People doing stupid shit for no reason, but we just have to make it work.
I agree with you with the power scaling. I've said that. You know.
I just think that maybe some people are taking those phrases a bit too literally. Like who's the best? Because you can't measure that just by what people say. Like in sports, you have the best teams in the world. They can still lose to the minnows. You still have underdog stories in fiction.
Screw the Yankees.
So just because, by the way, rip Kobe. Just because you have an outstanding amount of talent doesn't mean that you are invincible. Doesn't mean that you're prone to losing. I mean, again.
I'm sorry, real quick. Late charge. Yes, you do retain your status. Thank you so much for the donation. Appreciate it. Mwah, as always. All right, I'm sorry, Dan. Go ahead.
It's again. I look at the the reasons why each Aesop's member lost, and I do get them. I do get where they went, and especially when you also take into account some establishments in the past of the Aesop's underestimating the kids, like when Elm said in the past, perhaps you kids won't die after all, or just like the underestimating them in this situation. Like I gotten small notes here, just like each of the reasons why each one lost. Vine, inability to defend one's past semblance reach. Elm, emotions, inability to use semblance and prone target versus speedy pair. Marrow, limited range of stay and restraint. And Harriet, temper, ego, and crutches of speed. They all make sense when you look at it, and like how it was abused, because again, you're also going into what some people have complained about, the whole, oh, Team RWBY worked as a team and outfought the team that is having issues with each other and having disputes. It's a much better example of it than just saying, oh, I'm gonna fight on through the power and friendship and I get a sudden morale boost and I win. That's a very abused thing in shonen anime, like especially like fairy tale or something like that. That didn't happen here. I think the reasons why each one lost had logical reasonings. It's the actual result for the most part that is the biggest issue for some people, just because of what's been discussed as who's the best, and the best can't be beaten, which is foolish, I think.
It's one thing. I hear you. I agree. I hear you. I understand what you're saying. It's one thing to not be beaten, another thing to just whoop ass and not even get a scratch on you, and that's what happened.
Well, Blake got her aura busted.
Yes,
Oh, is that what
damn, yo.
RWBY got pinned. Weiss got stayed. Yang and Blake both got heavy hits by the hammer, so it's not like they dodged every single blow.
Did Blake have her aura broken before or after Elm let her go?
It wasn't broken, but it was damaged when she got smashed into the wall. Because we have this effect now where like the aura dissolves when it breaks, but all it did is just like
Almost
light
like
up.
sparkles, I think.
Yeah, so
it
it took massive damage. So these guys did get their lumps in. But again, it's like in terms of like the underestimating, like going soft. And I think one of the best things, like I think there was also some elements of like learning from the past, because I think one of the best sequences was Yang destroying the floor when Elm was going to use the missile launcher. Because if you notice, like she's going in for the
Yes.
full charge with a normal punch. She sees that Elm's about to launch the rocket, and remembering how she used her semblance to plant herself and use it when fighting in Mantle, she popped her semblance, destroyed the footing, and left her a prone target. I think that's a good bit of like learning from past events and building from that, again, in a very logical way.
The Aesop's trained Team RWBY. Wouldn't they know all about Team RWBY's strengths and weaknesses as well?
Good point.
Isn't that how it works?
Yes,
So Ara has been acting weird this volume. What am I saying? It actually started volume. What I'm saying is like I noticed while I was editing the last episode, Watts gets his aura broken, and then I believe Ironwood does in around the same time, and then they both fall like.
Watts
50
has his broken before they make the fall. Ironwood's breaks when they fall. So yeah, it was a bit strange that Watts was able to survive the fall,
Yeah,
unless
I was
there's
wait, shouldn't you have like a broken spine?
the thing that I kind of accepted was like either there's like a fading off period of like Aura's defenses, which is like something you don't really want to count on because that can cause some narrative conflicts. And then also I imagine like maybe there was like a cushion effect as the gravity was switching.
Or maybe it just wasn't a lethal fall.
It could
I
be
don't
an
know
eight.
how far that fall was.
I mean,
That was-
he did make enough of a roll and then turned around to face Ironwood, so it
alright.
looked painful when you pause it, but it did. At least
The
was better
fall
than
was
just-
at least taller than Watts was, so it's at least 20 feet, if not more.
Yeah. Aura, though, come on. Like, it has been like that for a while.
I
Yeah, no, I'm just saying it. Aura is just
Aura,
it's
aura,
never
aura,
consistent,
aura,
even when. Aura.
aura, aura, aura.
We also had
Give
one
us
of
your
those.
best Ara at Dashi.
No, I can't.
Perhaps the Aesop should have been recent graduates or something like that.
That was what I was hoping, that it would actually not be the Aesops,
Students.
maybe not completely the Aesops, but it would be Team Funky.
That would be interesting.
That would
Because
make more sense.
I would love to see Flint and Neon in this. Because like if it were Neon and not what's her face, that
Harriet.
Not Harriet. Sorry. Well, maybe it could have been Neon instead of Harriet. I was gonna say because Neon has a bit of a temper from what we can see.
Mhm.
No, she hasn't. It's very poppy and energetic. Not the temper is my take on her. I forgot.
She's not the sharpest in the head.
Michael O'Connor has a point here that I would love to know what Vex feels. He wants me to remind you, Vex, that the Aesops were missing their good luck charm. What do you think about that?
They suck, and they're only good because of the good luck.
Yeah,
That's a take and a half.
He was team leader. Like that's the thing is he was the leader of the Aesops. So
and he did say, "Where would you guys be without me?" Which it could have been like a setup. I could have been a setup, but we also had more than enough examples of them managing fine enough on their own or in like their split pairs for the moment. I think that would be a cute theory, but I don't think it would be too accurate to bank on.
I hate that almost as much as they got their asses kicked because they were holding back.
I think
Some of them were holding back, yeah.
Yeah, Vine was
Marrow.
holding back,
Marrow was holding
and Marrow
back.
was
Vine
holding
was
back.
holding back a little bit.
Yeah, until he pulled out the rocks.
And the wall OP.
Then he got his ass kicked even harder. Once he wasn't holding back, he got his ass kicked even harder.
Yeah, he picked up like Yang put mines on Blake.
It was
on her thing.
yeah,
though. It was on her.
take that, Bumblebee shippers.
It was on her. What's her face?
If they screwed up, there wouldn't be one half of the pair.
It's just a bit of an explosive romance.
Hey. Dan, can I just fucking say it's been a fucking I thank you for being here. Last time we were here, I was not only sick, I'm still not feeling 100% by the way, but I was not only sick, I was ganged up, gang banged by these three, and it was like
I don't think I'm going to be invited back now.
oh no, dude,
We
Nah,
didn't
you're mine.
gang up on you.
Oh, let's go to the replay, shall we? Okay.
We were just all agreeing, and then you were interjecting.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, because I'm so rude.
We can't go to the replay. The camera's melted. It was so hot in here.
That's right.
That's awesome.
Man.
I think we kind of like danced around all the topics we could on this fight.
Yeah,
I think we're starting to go around in circles. Do we want to go back to chapter 11?
Yeah, let's start. Yeah, we started
and go
off
from
right
and go
away.
from a fight that many people had some issues with to a fight that I think pretty much everyone just outstandingly adored.
Which was the
Ironwood versus
yeah.
Watts.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So that's your point. Did you adore it as well?
Even that one has some stupidity initiating it, with Ironwood not even attempting to use the environment to his advantage initially. But that's tread ground right now. So
And again, like the same thing with like Marrow initially using his power and then basically getting worn out, or like running out of juice to do it. Like Ironwood could have tried to use the thing, and then Watts could have just hacked it. It would have been
Cameron.
it would have been fine. Like
Use what thing?
Watts. Ironwood was up there in the control tower, and he could have like tried to like turn on the basically the arena and tried to like wear out Watts with the environment. But then Watts could have just hacked it the same way that he did in the actual fight. Like,
I think it's clear that he wanted to get at him though. He was always a pain in his ass and that kind of thing.
okay.
That's fair,
I'm
but
going
that's
to...
more like us doing mental gymnastics to justify the actions of the characters.
And it kind of builds on what we know already about Ironwood. Like he will never take like the standoff approach. He will always take the direct approach.
The direct approach
for
is
better or
dropping
worse.
the fucker in a pit of lava. That's a pretty direct approach, honestly.
Yeah, I don't get why people are kind of like thinking like he's being put in jail. Like, no, Ironwood in this situation, he is not willing to take the risk.
Yeah, he's not gonna bring the guy who wrote the code into into the place where the
Yeah.
code is
No,
the
I-
only
not
thing
with-
standing in between.
I,
you and
I just
chaos.
hope he kept the mustache as a trophy.
No, no. The last
know
thing you
I
see,
would.
the last thing you see is like the reason why they didn't show it in the show is because when his body is melting into the lava, the last thing you see is like the mustache floating on the top of it, and then it burns to cinders.
There's a joke I want to put in the abridge where he's holding Watts, and then a razor comes up on screen, and then it cuts wide, and Watts is like, no!
Gillette, the best the man can get.
Oh, media raises a good point. Dashi, if you want to read that out.
Yeah. Oh no, go ahead. I'm grabbing all the ones I can.
Media pointed out, also got to keep in mind the average huntsman is like Dean Dudley or that scrub who got killed by the Knuckleave in Volume 4.
No, it wasn't the Knuckleave. It was the
No.
Griffin or something. No, the
Well, no, the
Panera.
Knuckleavi wasn't.
No, the guy in Volume 4. The guy in
Yeah,
Volume
that's-
4, Episode 2.
That's when we first saw the footprint.
Yeah.
oh that guy.
What-
Okay, D and Dudley
about
were
him?
the were
Where's
D and
Volume
Dudley
6?
got killed by the Griffin on top
yeah
of the
Yeah.
train.
yeah that's who they were.
Well, D got killed on top of the train.
Or one
Dudley's
of
fine.
them. One of the dudes.
Dudley's now joining Ironwood in the one-armed bandit club.
There were
Nah, it was
there were
just a bruise.
there were train security. Of course, they were trash.
They weren't trained for this.
Oh god damn it! You're okay. All right, dial it down.
All right, kick down. Kick down.
I just
Come
caught
on.
that just now. Like wow.
You should know by now that that is my crutch.
Puns.
Yes,
Hey, you
I'm
know.
I'm
So you
the
mean
British
the cast?
Barbara.
Really gotta sling it to you, man.
And
All
also,
right, guys.
like,
Okay, can we move on?
it's,
Yeah, sorry. Enough breaking your arm.
Oh,
yeah,
Jesus, speaking of
going
arms
out-
and Ironwood, all right.
well,
He
going out on a
singed
limb here.
He singed his arm hairs beautifully.
Going out on a limb here.
Nice. Oh god damn it. Should I just lay back and just wait for you guys? Cause
No. I think I was just gonna say is like Ironwood. I think we can definitely say that his body isn't half and half metal because we can definitely confirm he has balls of steel after pulling his
Yeah.
arms out.
yeah, that was
Yes.
that was.
Yes,
The
he
reaction, I really thought he was gonna like slice, like he was gonna like.
Yeah,
go
I
down.
thought he was gonna lose the whole arm completely, like when they didn't like show it at first, but like
Yeah.
almost.
I'm not sure which would have been more brutal. Would like severing the arm at the shoulder be like?
I like the symbolism of the wounded human arm versus the metal side and how it's kind of affected Ironwood's psyche.
Yeah, that is actually pretty good symbolism, all things considered.
No, now that I think about it, I wish he would have had his arm decapitated. That way, he can take back Yang's arm since she didn't want to freaking
It's the
thank
wrong
him,
arm, ain't it?
thank him
the
for
wrong
giving him
arm.
the damn arm.
This is
It's the
the
wrong
picture.
You would just have the backwards arm, too short, too yellow.
Hey, whatever. She didn't thank him for giving him the damn arm to begin with. So
You're not gonna let that go.
no, I'm
You
not.
shouldn't, but
I'm not. I'm not. The man sent her that arm out of the goodness of his heart, and she didn't give him a thank you card or nothing.
Are we sure it was Ironwood who sent her that and not Pietro?
Positive.
It was, yeah. Ty said,
Yeah, it was Ironwood.
Ironwood personally.
Personally.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then there was this picture that that Arnold
Yeah. Murder
sent to us. Well, right after the reaction, which was hilarious. We died. It was so funny. Oh my god! I just put it in the chat. I'm sure. It's
What do you
old
guys?
now, but
What do you
hopefully
guys think of Hero, the song for this as well?
I like them both.
I
It
was
wasn't
not-
anything like out of like, oh my god.
It was fine.
But it was nice. It was okay.
I would die. It was alright.
Take my
Nice.
hand.
Ooh,
I
Vex,
think
keep
it-
going, please. That was nice.
Have you guys like heard of Caleb Hiles before this?
Arnold told us
Nope.
about it in the thing.
Hmm.
Before
Oh, yeah.
that, no, I never heard of it.
The
Yeah, what did you do before?
Yeah, I as much as I love Jeff and Casey, those guys are like absolute champions. I do like that we do have some singer variety because I think that is something that is kind of needed a little bit.
What did he do before? I don't know if you heard Fatman. Do you know? What other songs?
He does a lot of like covers on YouTube.
Okay.
He did a duet with Casey as well.
Oh, nice. Check it out.
It really is, I've considered doing covers on YouTube. I just don't know if like my mic is set up for it or if like And I'm just very
same.
self-conscious about it.
Do it. Just do it.
I don't know what song to cover though. There's like nothing in
Dude,
my range.
We
I have a
sang
very
Christmas carols that day in Christmas. Watch that stream, by the way. It's only 12 hours. You got the time, guys. That's where we had Arnold and Vex there for a while too.
What do you do with a drunken sailor? What do you do with a drunken sailor? What do you do with a drunken
I felt the
sailor?
same way
Lion
about that
and
song.
lion.
About that song in episode 11. Kind of the same way that I felt about. Do you remember? Maybe it was episode 3 of Genlock when they were doing the training montage, and they had that rap song that
Yeah.
wasn't.
Oh,
Lamar
Yeah,
at
yeah.
all,
it was out of place.
and it like didn't work. I felt the
Yeah.
same way here. Like, I mean, I'm used to Jeff's voice at this point, and this one, it felt. Especially the beats they came in on. I called it an acapella in the reaction, and that's wrong.
Instrumental.
Yeah,
When they came in on him singing, it was like, man, nah, that was weak. You should have retook that.
I agree with you.
I feel like the song itself is too low energy, and it's really hard to convey what that means because like it's a rockin' beat. It's a decent song, and I'm not gonna like bash it.
I love the opening instrumentation with like the rock remix of Ironwood's leitmotif.
Raymond, was it wrong? Is it wrong for me to say that like it kind of took you out? I noticed that in the reaction, like it took you out of it out of nowhere. The song.
Yeah, I did because it's sort of like
It's that whiplash effect of not hearing that familiar voice.
It's like because
Or
like,
it was slow for him, it
instrumentation itself, the instrumentation itself was decent
Generic.
along with the fight, but then like the music, the voice kicked in, and it was so kind of like the rock music itself was energetic, and that's fine, but the vocals were kind of languid,
I see what you're saying.
and it's not that they were bad vocals. It's just like it's the wrong type of rock music to put along with this. Like you can have high energy rock with languid lyrics, but it doesn't go well with this kind of action sequence.
Do you think like maybe Caleb's voice is maybe a bit too high pitched?
I'm not
No,
sure, but I agree with
no.
media here.
No.
Like he says, he's all fresh for a set of vocals, but I'd rather keep Casey. And if it means getting new people to write the songs, I mean,
When
they need that beat again. They need something like.
I think I know what. Go ahead.
I agree with the plateau, Raymond, that we were saying, but it's not like
Yeah.
it didn't go down. They need a good banger.
I do think they should experiment more with their type of music, and I'm glad to at least see them trying new singers, but I think they need to push it further. Like, what I really want to see, an a cappella song.
When Ironwood uses his gravity gun at that moment, that music should have hit. It should have been like boom, like it should have been like amazing when the music kicked in at that moment, but it wasn't. It was just kind of like, yeah.
It felt like it
from behind.
it needed the beat drop of a song, not the start of it. Maybe
It needed a song like "Red Like Roses," like that kick in.
Yeah,
It
when it has
that.
that moment where it's just the vocals.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, when it cuts just to the vocals and then boom, 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 boom. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
And speaking of like more variety in the singers, we also had some new ones in the new song for this episode as well. It was Dawn M. Bennett, the voice of Elm, alongside Casey. Adrienne Cohen, I believe it is. She was
Was
with
that,
Casey on Nevermore.
oh, okay, but for this episode, was it the one where she said, "I don't have a problem with you"? Is that how it started?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that was Dawn's bit.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was another one, Erin Riley, who also does covers on YouTube, Golden Wind Productions.
Okay.
So I like that they're experimenting with not just like different types of singers, but also like singers from YouTube and like even ones that have done RWBY covers in the past, so like they're familiar with the work.
Yeah. That's one thing I always appreciated about like Rooster Teeth. They always grab them fans and keep them connected.
Hey, Rooster Teeth, where are you? Come grab me.
They're they're more likely to
I'm
grab
still-
me, not for nothing, but
I'm still waiting for the day that we're gonna have like some RWBY tuber names in the background of like the Huntsman boards or something like that.
Oh God.
I mean, they might.
right.
It wouldn't surprise me. Now, what about Robin in chapter 12?
Wait. We're still at chapter 11 real quick.
We're doing the hopscotch back.
Yeah, no.
I
Chapter
thought we
11, going
continued
back
the
to the
jumping
fight.
around.
No, going back to the fight and the gravity and all that stuff. There was a
What about
couple times there where, yeah, he could have just grabbed his gun and shoot, and he still had ammo. I watched it like 7 times after that. It was kind of
Who? What?
the fight. Ironwood and Watts, yeah, who Ironwood had shot, and then I don't remember exactly what happened, but like he stared at him instead of just like shooting again, which
What's ran out of bullets?
Before Ironwood.
right,
Yeah.
and they ran out at the same time, didn't they?
Who knows?
No.
It's not suggested that Ironwood did, but at that point they were kind of like they were just at the point of just slugging each other, especially when after Ironwood got free and he was just like full of rage, just grabbing Watts by the throat. He wasn't going for bullets. He was going for like full on physical violence.
Yeah.
But okay.
People, I just saw someone on Twitter saying that episode 12 was the single worst episode of RWBY. I don't understand that. Okay, fine.
No.
You can say that episode
understand
12
it.
wasn't a good episode, but like the worst when the
Yeah.
end of volume 5 exists, when volume
All
2
the other
exists.
episodes in Volume 7,
Yeah,
I-
I mean,
I-
except for 2.
I saw there was one poll. There was one poll. I can't remember who it was. Was like,
okay.
I don't know if it was about Clover, but it's like they asked, was that like the worst scene, or it might have been the Aesop's fight. It was like, was that the worst scene, or was like the worst writings? Like, oh no, that's what it was. It was like, was episode 12 the worst writing in the series? And I argued no, because there was some shoddy lines in volume 5, like Salem only uses people until they're no longer useful. Shout outs to Unicorn of War. Some of the writing in volume 1 was obviously not its best. I think in terms of like the quality of it, it can be spotty, but nah, this is still much better than what we've had years in the past.
Let me explain to you what people are feeling. The problem is that chapter 11 was really good.
Yeah.
So what happens was they were expecting, oh my god, this volume finally kicked in. We're ready to go. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. And then chapter 12 happened. So it's like you're going up the mountain and you fall off the cliff. So it feels like the worst thing ever because of how disappointed people were, and the disparity. But after a while, I'm sure they'll come back saying, nah, it's not as bad as certain things. But right now, that's how they feel. And that's how I felt after Saturday. Because that's just, wow.
Chapter 11 is like as close to like a perfect score as you can get. Chapter 12 would probably be closer for many people, not like in me personally, but like for many people, skirting close to maybe a 7 or something like that. But it's definitely a decrease, but I don't think it's like the absolute god awful worst. Like it's not
I'll give it a
Cinder
solid.
and Raven forming a plan.
I'll give it a solid 5.
See, that's still fair, and even that I would say is still much better than like. No matter what, no episode so far will ever be worse than that one episode where we just had Carden fighting Jean, and then that small dinner scene, and then that was it. For like less than 10 minutes, I believe, or something like that. I think we're at that point where like we're used to like the typical structure of a RWBY episode where it's like a certain amount of minutes. The scenes have been sharper in terms of like the production, the animation at points, the writing, the characters. Obviously, they've had their downer moments, but like this is still much better than the worst of it. But saying like this is like the absolute worst, I don't get that mindset. I think a lot of that is just like the immediate emotions and like the strong emotions, especially for certain scenes.
The closest thing I can relate to that was, for me, Volume 3 being that Chapter 11 feel to Volume 4, where I don't like Volume 4, like, at all, where it turns out it wasn't as bad as I thought, but I still have that feeling of, like, God damn it, why? You know, because of that weight. Plus, it was amazing, in my opinion, of course, and I think it's pretty close to that feeling, I think.
Yeah.
Going back to 11, now that we were pretty much done with that Ironwood fight, yes? Anything else about that Ironwood fight?
Nothing.
No.
No. And then
Do
going
we-
into, Vex's favorite, Robin, and the boys. Her and the boys fighting Tyrion. Obviously, we don't know anything what happened yet.
I like that fight. I think it was a nice, like, different pacing change, so it wasn't the exact same as the first fight. My only real gripe is I would have liked more from Robin, actually. I think she was a bit too... I get what the tactics was with her shooting from range to chop away at Tyrion whenever he had a moment of freedom. But she also has, like, the blade form of a weapon, and, like, 3-on-1 is much better than 2-on-1 and 1 at a range.
Her weapon is whack.
It's just
I like
pretty, I
it.
guess. No, I think it's just what are the wings for? Like, okay, a little shield maybe.
It's on
They're
blades.
blades. They're
It's-
blades and
Oh,
shield.
right,
But the thing
okay.
is, I understand them. I don't understand the practicality of a bow and arrow in this day and age.
Well, at least we had the dust explosion versions of arrows.
But you can have exploding bullets.
And I like I do think it actually works in terms of like who Robin is, because like, do you really think that she's going to be able to have a huge amount of dust on hand to have constant dust arrows, especially with current situation in Atlas and her vitriol towards Jacques?
In a show like RWBY, every character that's supposed to be relevant should have somewhat of a cool weapon. Somewhat. I mean, the Aesop's weapons are all pretty solid, you know. But why is hers just those? She's the hero of Mantle, and she got an arrow. Wait, this is lame.
So, like, in your opinion, what's like a really bad weapon besides hers? Just so I know, like, your range.
Cardin's.
It's just a mallet or whatever.
I
it
think
right
we
there.
can all know Vernal.
Bernal's big ass like thingies.
Yeah, that was
I-
hers is better than Robin's.
I
No,
like
they're
I
not.
like it, but it's not like some of the best.
I'm going to lay this out. All right. So Robin's is a ranged weapon of crossbow combined with a shield and blades. Now
Sure.
we pan over to Vernal. Hers is a ranged weapon inside of another ranged weapon.
Well,
I want
it's
you
also
to
hand blades, but it's like,
She's
This
got
is
a
a
hula hoop with a gun.
But this
in
is
it.
a show. This is a show where sights are snipers. I mean,
but thing is, at the same time, it's like Robin is obviously based on Robin Hood. Robin Hood needs a bow weapon. Robin Hood also kind of uses sword. That's kind of like a good fusion of weapons there for the combining weapons world that is RWBY. What else could you have created for a bow/blade weapon?
Would you consider Robin Hood being hot-headed?
Now if they're if
She's
they're,
passionate.
Okay.
if
You're
if they
saying
were
Robin
open to
Hood,
it.
or are you saying
Robin Hood.
no,
I wouldn't call him hot-headed.
No,
No, he's
he's
passionate,
clever.
cocky,
He's clever.
charismatic.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's cocky, clever. He's
Charismatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trust me,
Uh,
I've read my fair share of all kinds of Robin Hood stuff. I'm big nut on it.
It's like requisite for being British.
Robin is trash.
Yeah,
the,
I mean, I kind of like the Taron Egerton Robin Hood. Not loved, kind of liked.
But I
Just
want to
'cause
raise
it's
the
Robin
point
Hood.
of like one thing they could have given her. What about an energy crossbow or an energy bow and arrow? Like an energy weapon. We've already seen energy weapons in the show. How cool would it be if she had like a laser bow and arrow that
So
shot
another
freaking
cinder
lasers?
weapon?
You thinking like Pitt's bow from like Kid
More
Icarus and
Pitts bow.
Smash?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that.
They should have stole Mark Zhang's weapon that he made for his character on the.
Yeah, but then that's kind of like if you don't have the permission for that, if he
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
want to.
Yeah, I didn't mean literally. You know what I mean? And not literally steal it, but like something cool like
I
that.
mean, yeah. I think it's against like a situation like you got to have a bow, you got to have a blade. What else can you do? And they've already shown that like the wrist blade weapon is kind of cool, and it kind of works as like a different parallel to Tyrion.
Yeah, Robin sucks.
Again,
The character
again-
sucks. The weapon's all right.
again, I just kind of wish that she had a bit more to do in that fight there.
I mean, she landed the killing blow.
Yeah, I mean that cool. The one thing
By
that
the way,
also
has everybody voted in this poll? We got 15 minutes left on it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all.
one other thing that I think the fight needed, instead of like saying who's laughing now, she should have said that one was for Fiona.
Fiona's fine.
Yeah.
I know,
Fiona got back on her feet in like 10 minutes.
That
It was-
upset me,
know.
dude.
I know, but she was still hurt, and she obviously still cared about Fiona. She didn't want her to get hurt.
Where even is she?
Yeah, where are the happy
She's
hunters?
babysitting all the stuff she stole.
They were aiding in the evacuation. We saw like Joanna and May. We didn't see Fiona. I don't
Fiona's
think
sucking
unless
up
she...
people into
Yeah.
her hand.
Yeah, during the evacuation, I saw them leave a helpless woman and child by themselves in chapter 9? Or 10?
Fiona's trying to get the truck out of her hand, but it's stuck in traffic.
Oh god.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't really have much to say about that Tyrion fight. It was 3v1. They were supposed to win. It happened. It was over.
Yeah, I like that Tyrion caught the thing. I like that this kind. There was this thing that I pointed in my volume review of how Tyrion was tanking shots with his tail when Ruby was shooting at him, and I'm like, well, that's like that's aura. That's just damaging your aura. You're not actually doing anything.
Unless it's like got like a hard shellish skin because of the scorpion.
But then that comes back later where he does take tank damage and he does hurt himself, and he does all that stuff. Like, I mean, he didn't have to catch Robin's arrow. Like, I mean, he broke his thumbs for like, just for practical purposes.
He had to catch it because he was Tyrion and he was just like loving life and wanted to show her.
He was nuts at that point as well.
And we got the Hawkeye versus Loki moment.
Yeah.
That was I seriously enjoyed that fight.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
That breakdancing move was amazing.
And it didn't make and Tyrion didn't win. Like, just like Team RWBY shouldn't have beaten Aesop's,
Robin pulled a Blake against Torchwick, just kicking him in the face instead of just killing the bastard. But...
Yeah, there's a lot of killing that should go on.
But then you also got like the hero's code and all that stuff.
That doesn't apply to Crow or Robin.
Robin isn't very smart anyway, so.
Moving on.
Neither is Crow.
But we'll get to that. We'll get to that in chapter 12.
Moving on. Like, who would say like as good like the fights were? Does anyone agree like the best scene was the stuff in the office?
No.
Correct.
Ooh. See, this is why I love discussions.
Yes, because it made me feel so much better. I was so pissed that Ironwood took it so well. We all were. Like, VEXED, I think the last time you were here, that's where we left off, was like, oh, Ironwood was fine with it, and we were all
got
upset.
consequences.
Yeah.
Correct.
That was
The stuff in the office was good. It just wasn't the best part of that episode.
Look, I'm just happy that Pomeranian Grimm exists, by the way. Amazing stuff.
Well,
was-
you could.
Right,
Well, you
Fatman,
could
you're saying.
argue that the moment where that character moment for Ironwood when he like pulls his arm out and then drags Watts across the floor and lifts up himself, sacrifice anything to stop her. You could argue that's the best moment of the entire chapter. You could argue that.
That's the most badass moment.
I was just so happy that all that shit they were doing this whole volume that was pissed me off finally came back around and blew up in their faces a little bit. Like, okay, finally.
Yeah.
I was also happy for that moment. Like, okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna open up I'm gonna open up something here. What do you guys think about the whole Joe Mama thing with Salem?
I hate it.
That was the weakest part of the chapter.
That was hilarious to me, and I think it earns a couple points because it was so funny.
Your scale is so weird.
It's hard for me to get like a full judgment of that scene because they're clearly trying to save as much as the whole mystery about Summer as possible until we get it properly explored. So I can't get like a full judgment on it. The only thing that I would say that I absolutely loved is like how it's the cut-ins of Summer. They were the reverse of when Summer appeared in the Volume 6 finale, where it's like sunny skies is now dark skies.
Yeah.
The camera's moving away and the frown is there instead. I like that from a directive touch.
I dislike it from a directive touch because I think it's a little too on the nose for like, and it's also like way too quick. Like the idea, as Salem said, I killed your mother, or like, like you're just saying, basically she came and was like, I fucked your mom, and Ruby's like, no, my entire concept of my mom is ruined. Like, what? You have literally the most evil person on the planet telling you that your mother bitched out at the last minute.
Well, okay,
and
she said the same thing.
Ruby shouldn't have cried. Period. Point blank. She shouldn't have cried. All she said was that. All she said was, "Your mother said the same thing to me, and she was wrong too." Okay, you're wrong. Are you dead, Ruby, right now? No. All she said was, "Your mom was wrong." Okay, doesn't mean she killed her.
It's also the fact it's like the person that they're facing and the person that inspired her to be a huntress and gave her the thought process, the emotions that she used to help her stay strong and brave in that moment when she's like talking down to Salem. The fact that the person that inspired all of that died by Salem's hands is like a huge, more kind of like kick to the nads.
But how do you know she died by Salem's hands?
She literally said, "Your
again,
mom. I
again,
was
that's-
with her."
That's
That's not
just
what
what
she
I'm.
said.
That's just what I'm basing from what is being suggested.
I think that's what. See, this is what I think.
her to be a huntress
I think-
was the
I think-
books she was read as a kid.
I think
Yeah.
it's saying they're telling us that, in that way. But I think we're going to turn out that she was not actually killed by Salem. Actually, I think there's.
Yeah, I think there's
Go ahead.
there's definitely going to be some gray area of like the actual truth to what went down, especially like now because we've only just gotten like a little bit of like the kind of person that Summer was, especially like with the talk with Ruby and Crow. I don't think they're going to reveal like the truth about it this early on when they still clearly want to save it for later.
Yeah, they're saving that. It's gonna be like a volume 9 spoiler.
Cinder is Summer.
Honestly,
Yeah.
honestly,
Call
all
it
right.
right now.
Honestly, what she said is not much different than what Raven actually said in Volume 5. She said, "Remember, she said, you sound just like your mother." Versus your mother said that to me. She was wrong too.
That's
Yeah, well-
Salem, though.
Alright.
Salem.
So,
Oh my
like
gosh.
bringing up like the failure of like Summer and like the suggestion that Salem killed Summer is much a stronger statement than you sound just like your mother. Oh, by the way, she's dead. That wasn't the theme of that there.
We also don't know, like, what was if she was. And don't yell at me. This is just my simple
Ah,
mind
okay.
fucking working. Okay, my simple mind tells me who are we to know that like those images weren't placed in her mind at
I
that
don't
moment,
think
and she was like,
I-
she was freaking out, and she didn't know what to do. Like something was
I
happening
don't
in
think
her head.
I don't think Ruby herself was seeing those images. I think that's something for the viewer.
Okay, but
It kinda like-
that could be
Wait,
possible.
what? Why do you think that?
I think that because we didn't. I don't.
She's got magic.
Okay.
I think in some way it does reflect what Ruby was thinking because obviously like the reverse effect of what I was saying before with the Indomitable scene, but it's like we don't need to know. Ruby didn't need to have to the thought of Summer on the cliff at turning away. She was just thinking like, oh, you're responsible for Summer. That was all the thought that she was having there. I think those cut-ins were for our benefit, kind of like in the same way like we had the benefit of seeing visual representations of the memories that Ruby was thinking of when she was using her power.
Hi, Allison.
They didn't
okay.
set it up. Go ahead.
So
go ahead. Raven.
I have a lot of opinions on the whole Summer thing because up until I'm still an advocate, but it's obviously never going to happen. I was a huge advocate that Summer Rose and Tai Yang should not be fucking involved in any of this garbage. They should have been rather regular characters. And like as in regular, rather regular character. Meanwhile, you have the Branwyn twins, who are the ones that were dragged into things, and maybe Summer got some special treatment by Ozpin, but maybe she wasn't what he needed. But the idea being that she was relatively normal. That's my first complaint. Summer should not be involved. Let's go to the second complaint. Second complaint: how much does Ruby know about her mother? She was like 2. Literally, we did the math on this. She's 2 years younger than Yang, approximately, and Yang was approximately 4 years old when Summer disappeared.
Keep going, Raymond. You're killing it. Keep going.
Yeah. How many memories does Ruby have of her mother? In volume 6, when Ruby had her moment of remembering Summer, and it was a pleasant memory that I could see. I can understand that because that's you going back way deep into your childhood to this really warm memory of your mother. Fine. That rings true. But this now all of a sudden you're trying to tell me that this is having a massive emotional impact on Ruby. One positive memory versus hundreds of other memories from hundreds of different people that are way more important to her than someone she barely knew for 2 years as a baby.
And on top of that, she's not even talking about her damn mom. Had they set this moment, this crying bullshit would have worked better. Had they been setting it up, maybe she'd been asking, "Well, my mom was silver eyes. Does that mean Salem killed her?" Like she's not asking these questions. She's not talking about her mom and the fact that she was a silver eye warrior. She found out her mom was a silver eye warrior, a super warrior. She doesn't talk about it at all. She doesn't question what her mom did. How did she maneuver? How did she work as a silver eye warrior? What happened to her? I heard Salem's killing silver eye warriors. Did that happen to my mom?
On every level.
Did not talk about it at all. And on top of, and my biggest problem I have with Yang, this is why I'm gonna do video on Yang after the volume. she should be affected by the summer shit too. They're cutting her out of the summer talk completely.
She
with
should
this
be more
bullshit.
affected by the summer shit. She should be way more affected by
That's
it.
her summer Rose is her super mom. They cut it out
Yes, that
completely.
was the
It's
exact
awful.
line.
It's awful. This
She
is your
did-
mother.
That's
This is your mother.
I can't wait to say something now.
This
She
is your
did look-
mother. She raised you. They are cutting her out completely. Every time they talk about Summer Rose, it's Crow and Ruby, Ruby and Salem, Ruby and it's all about Ruby. Yang is all about Blake. That's it. She's not talking about her mom. She's not in part of this conversation. There's no brother, sister, big sister, little sister relationship at all. There's nothing. It's just Summer Rose.
All right.
And it's a problem. Go ahead.
They did show that she was like heartbroken as a little bit from the situation when she was like
I have a lot to say
holding
about
Ruby.
that.
I disagree.
Without being interrupted.
I think someone need to grab her, and it was Yang. That's it.
Let's let Dashi
All right.
speak.
This
Go
is
for it.
why my simple mind works the way it works because of this. Okay. I remember shit when I was like 1.5. I do, and they're little things, but I still remember. The part where I say, the distortion, and even like media just said it too. Like, there's something. I truly believe Salem was doing something in her mind about that, because if what I'm getting from this, my interpretation is, Ruby has one memory of her mom. That picture, that visual, which you can absolutely retain at that age. So Ruby's vision is beautiful, sunny skies, big smile, that's her lovely mom. Now, the reason I think that Salem did something to her mind is because she took that same picture, the only one that we've seen her have, and distorted it into a way that, hey, what if that's the only thing I remember, and now she's putting this into my brain, and now it's all distorted. What is the truth now? So this is what's happening, and then that's why I think I believe something where Salem affected that one memory. So that's how she was all messed up, because what is she to believe? Did Ruby make that up in her own mind? What is the truth in her mind? And that's why I think everything went nuts in her head. That's all.
That's fair. The one thing I would say is I'm not so certain that the shot of Summer on the cliff is a memory. I think it could just be
I think it's memory. Okay. There's a lot of storytelling
Let
techniques in
Dan
film.
go. Let Dan go.
The only reason why I say that is again, like you said, we've not had a lot of Ruby talking about Summer and how in some ways she's not as much as other stuff. And the only reason why I would feel more confident in saying that it's not a memory is because I'm sure part of it is a combination of the stories that she has heard about Summer from Tai, a little bit from Yang as well, and Crow as well, and the fact that she's constantly gone to Summer's grave. That's why I think it's specifically we always see Summer standing on a similar looking cliff, is because I think she's combined to try and connect herself in some way to this mother that she's never really had a chance to know. I think it's a combination of everything that she's heard about Summer and that one constant image that she has, that she knows where Summer is just because it's the grave.
What Vex said actually helped my little crackpot thesis over here, because he said Yang wasn't affected. Salem was staring right at Ruby. I swear she's doing something in her brain. That's why I believe I would be affected too. That's my mom too, man. That's super mom. Cookies and Slayer or whatever.
They're
there you go.
ignoring
I
them.
have a few thoughts on this. First, I am very adamant about the fact that that is a memory that Ruby has because of how the Silver Eyes worked. We saw shot for shot memories in film. If you do that, you have to have very little variance. Either they're all accurate memories or none of them are. And they are almost all one-for-one recreations of events that actually happened. There are slight differences, but they're not so significant as a massive change in location and setting. So I truly believe that it is a memory that she has of her mother. The second issue I have with this, where was I going with this? I'm trying to think of the arguments you're trying to make.
Hey, Raymond, does it matter that wasn't a matte painting. All of them were matte paintings, kind of, right? But that one wasn't. I agree with you though. I'm wondering.
I don't think it matters. I think
Okay.
it's just because they wanted to show that off. And I think the second point of that is the reason I it's much easier to believe that that is a moment that stuck out to her because it was something really nice with her mother, and that the grave was put there for some kind of sentimental reason. Like they put that grave there because it was Summer's favorite spot. It's very easy to like just abstract that in an instant. So the positioning of that, I don't have any kind of belief that it was a fake. Now the image of it twisting, I think was a visualization of RWBY having suddenly darker thoughts about her mom that again I don't believe should be affecting her. But you could Dashi may have a right theory that maybe Salem has some kind of mental thing going on. It's possible, but I doubt it.
Fatman, anything from you? You've been quiet.
No.
Is he even here? Did
I
he
don't
peace?
know. Hey, is he on the phone? Is he here?
I think he's like
Fatman.
getting a drink.
Okay.
Here's a question. What if what she saw the second time when Salem was talking to her? What if that was the actual memory? What if that's how
Right.
she act? What if that's the real actual
that's
fake look she had on
That's
her
what
face?
I was trying to say. What if that was
like
the
she-
actual memory?
Yeah, the first time she had like a happy thought of it, but once Salem said that, it kind of kicked in, like the real memory kicked in, and really she was sad in that moment, and almost that led to her leaving. Whatever happened after that is what killed her later on when she left.
So,
Oh, I
So you
remember
think-
now. As we all know, RWBY believes in ghosts, and that was actually the ghost of Summer that she saw, as evidenced by Volume 3.
Okay. All right. Dan,
So-
what were
Go
you
ahead,
saying?
Dan. Go ahead.
I actually like that idea. So in your sense, you're saying like the dark vision where it's like panning away. That's it can work as a representation of like Ruby's conflicted thoughts at that moment, but also of the parting, the last thing that she can distinctly remember in some way, as she's leaving. And then I guess maybe in the sense, would the first vision where it's the sunny day, would that be just like Ruby remembering that as like my last moment of seeing my mum?
Yeah.
The last, like, that's a happy thing because it's
Yeah.
like I still remember who she is. It's like
Yeah.
I think on that fondly.
Like we
some
see
way.
we see that a lot of time in fiction. Like a lot of time in fiction when we're messing with memory and like when someone's messing with like trying to remember something, they'll think of a scene or like a memory and they'll have like a happy thought of it. Then later on we find out it was actually darker, but it took a while for them to kick in and like finally register in their brain. Like, now I
Suppressed.
remember. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was suppressed. Exactly.
You think of it more as a happy moment because you're remembering the person,
Plus everybody talking about her
you,
and the way that they do
but then when you break it down, you are adding the context of the scene and like everything that can affect that character as well, the dark side of it.
Yeah,
But-
memory is significantly unreliable. So
Yeah.
I can see how.
Okay,
this would
I
change a lot of stuff.
I can accept that. Again, I'm not that confident on it being a memory, but I can definitely see the avenues where it could be. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It's not
I-
something that's gonna break me.
It's just good time too.
I
Fatman,
I
I
do
was
have a-
asking, well, do you have any opinion on this? Because we all did, and you were kind of quiet. Turns out you were in the bathroom.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Taking a shit.
yeah. No, I would still be gone. if I was taking a shit.
I was leaving a memory.
Yeah. What Dashi said, combined with what Vex said, that Yang wasn't affected, so that kind of like makes it seem like Salem was fucking around in her head. That might be a good crackpot theory to keep in mind. But I initially was on the side where it was like, no, this could very easily be a memory, and just hearing about Summer in a different context could distort the memory, because memories are like shitty, unreliable things.
And suppressed, yeah.
And
Yeah.
and everyone that's talked about Summer talks of her in a very positive light. Even Ty, despite the breakdown that he had, there's very few negative things said about Summer. Like the most negative we've had is like Crow saying that what was it like she's oh god, what was that little like playful jab he gave
Rambunctious or something like stubborn.
troublemaker or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
go
the
ahead,
most
Batman.
negative thing we've heard about Summer.
Yeah. But I wanna harp on. She said the same thing, so that means that she knew that she got, okay, because Jin
I think
says
Let him.
I have Jin says I have 2 questions left. 2 out of 3 questions left. Meaning that first question was Jin telling Summer and possibly Raven and less possibly Crow and Tai the same stuff that Team RWBY learned in Volume 6, Episode 3. So Jin basically answered the same question twice, which shouldn't count as the second question, and they should take this. They should rules lawyer her.
But what if the question that Summer asked was like, can I beat Salem, or was like, can Silver Eyes beat Salem? And then
How would anyone beat Salem?
Yeah, something like that. Something that would give Summer a reason for why she would choose to go by herself.
Salem be beaten?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, whatever it is, the missing question that we've had is definitely from Summer, and that's what sparked her going for her mission.
I think you guys are overthinking this.
Yeah, we don't know that.
One day, Miles and Carrie gonna go to a panel and say, "Oh, what she was talking about when she said we will stop you." That's it. Come on, guys.
Now, if I might interject, why I still think
I'm upset by that revelation.
Now, if I might interject, because there is something that's been bothering me more about this, is the fact that it bothers RWBY has less to do with what we perceive, because we're attributing this to her. How often has RWBY ever, and I mean ever, talked about Summer? Period.
About her? No, but she goes to Grave a bunch.
That's kind of an issue about RWBY, though, and in general, she rarely talks about her feelings. She always tries to bottle it up about anything. It's not just Summer.
Okay. Let me expand the question. How many times
Hold on.
has
Crossed 100 viewers?
nice?
Thank you.
you.
How many times has Summer been referenced by RWBY in any moment, any given moment? It's less than 5. It's like you have the grave in the Red trailer. You have the grave in back at the grave in Volume 3. I don't think she mentioned her at all. Yang did. Yang definitely did in Volume 2.
Yeah.
But then you have. I don't think she's mentioned up again
Honestly,
until Volume 6.
Raymond, probably about the same amount of times she's mentioned Tai.
I'm with you, Raymond.
But the thing is, Tai didn't disappear under mysterious circumstances.
No,
She
but,
knows
like,
that
she
Tai is
talks-
back home and chilling. So
Yeah.
here's the thing. The emotional attachment we perceive RWBY as having to her mother is completely fictional until the show actually establishes it. We have very little reason to believe that RWBY has any kind of really super strong connection. She has one fond memory. That's all we know. That's all we know as far as we're concerned.
I think it might.
Go ahead.
I think it might be a bit too harsh to say that there is no strong connection, because I think deep down, RWBY does love Summer, obviously, because like without Summer, RWBY wouldn't be here, and you can tell that just by like the frequent trips to the grave, and how like she talks very warmly to the grave.
And
So
everybody
I
always
think
tries to keep her alive through talking to her about it too.
yeah, I think again, it goes back to the whole thing with RWBY. She always tries to bottle up the negatives and tries to keep a positive outlook. I think that's just a case where it's that youthful mind of hers where she's
That's
part of-
that's a problem of the writing.
Yes,
It's not
right.
conveyed to the viewer.
No.
Yeah. You're attributing something we don't really see.
Dan, were you done?
Let me get in here for a second, okay?
All right, okay.
Volume 5. Okay, the first time RWBY's actually like brought up her mom like without like she brought it up is Volume 6. I mean this volume 7, chapter 4, which said, and was that what happened to Summer or whatever? Her mom, my mom, was that one of her offspring secrets? That's the first time she brought up her mom. Like she brought it up. Every other time someone else said something and she just said nothing, right? The biggest problem I had with this writing in Summer Rose was fucking Volume 5. I think it was chapter 8. When she was having a talk with Maria about Silver Eyes power, and Maria was talking about her dad and her father, and how what I say?
Volume 5.
Volume 6, chapter 8. Volume 6, chapter 8. Maria was talking to RWBY about her upbringing and her father, how her father taught her. And there's a perfect opportunity for RWBY to bring up Summer Rose and talk about, yeah, I didn't have my mom, and my mom was a Silver Eye warrior. I knew nothing about her. And they dropped the ball for no reason.
Yeah.
There's no reason why she shouldn't have brought up her mom. There.
They could have, like, if I would have to like create an excuse right now, maybe
Let
I know,
him.
I
Jesus
know.
Christ.
It doesn't sound positive for me to say that because we don't have anything actually in the
That's why we're
show.
all
But
here.
like,
Different types of
they
views.
maybe
I agree.
it's in a sense where Ruby doesn't want to think about her mom as the silver-eyed warrior. She just wants to think about her mom as her mom. And
Does she even think about her mom is the question.
again, yes, but that's going into a different topic. And again, I'm only creating like on the spot context. I, in a sense, like it's this whole thing with Ruby again. She just we haven't got to the point where I think this was the first time that we see her break down a little bit because of Summer. Where this goes is going to be the most interesting thing. If we don't see her discuss Summer, if she doesn't discuss about Salem's role in Summer's supposed death in the next volume, then we got a huge issue. But I think at least now we're starting to tap into it. It's just obviously a long time coming. There's definitely some options where they could have discussed in the past. I'm willing to give it a chance. Again, just please, Volume 8, give us something like that, especially now that you've had this moment where Ruby had her brave moment and then was broken.
Yeah, agreed.
Hey Dan, how do you feel about Yang not talking about her supermom whatsoever, or interacting with Summer Rose stuff at all?
There's obviously a case where Yang's biggest issue in terms of like family members is, of course, in regards to Raven, and there's obviously an issue where she's not had much interactions with Crow since Volume 3. I can understand where the issues are in terms of that.
I'll be right back.
I think it's just a case of like the RWBY, the writers especially, have doubled down on focusing on this particular aspect of Yang. This particular, like going into Yang's feelings on Blake, then going into Yang's feelings on losing the arm, then Yang's feelings on Raven, then finding Ruby. It's I think it's in a situation where she's being put into one particular path and she's not allowed to think about other things in terms of other issues on her mind, especially when it got in regards to how it affects other characters as well. Like she's not brought up Raven towards others since meeting Raven again. Obviously in terms of like keeping the secrets as well that she has. I think it's just a case now where yeah, I can see where the problems are with it. It would be nice to have more of a moment where we see Yang discuss with Ruby about Summer, discuss with all this stuff again. Again, I think that could be something that in Volume 5 we see. Though
Volume 8?
Yeah, in Volume 8 when we have Ruby after this. Though I have some topics about that we'll discuss later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do accept the flaws in terms of like Yang's role as a sister. I think it's still good. Could be a much better.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I plan on
always.
I plan on diving in deep on Yang.
I mean,
after the video
I
is over.
Yang's still my favorite, and even then, I say that with full acknowledgement of the flaws.
Fair enough.
But then I can say that about me as a fan of RWBY. I'm a huge fan of it. I'm very aware of its flaws. Just because I'm liking it doesn't mean I'm not aware to it. And
Exactly.
doesn't mean that I'm not aware of my wants for it to be better as well at some areas. But
High
there
fucking
we go.
five, dude. Like that's what I'm all about. Especially, like, yeah, you know, I'm here with these guys, and yeah, it hurts to get like grouped in with like the, I guess, hate or whatever. But at the same time, yes, I always say I know what I signed up for. But like, I'm not Miss. Let's look at all those rainbows and not look at anything else. Like, I'm realistic and I get it. And just fucking thank you for saying that shit. dude.
That will go into like the when we finally get to it the Clover stuff when we discuss like some fan elements and some all
Yeah,
that
that
jazz there.
stuff.
But yeah.
By
But
the way,
Vex, I totally understand why you are going for this video concept and all the best to it. I hope it's good.
Thank you. Which also, Charleston
Thank
Shane,
you.
that's cool, says, thank you for having these streams. These make me appreciate everyone's point of view a lot more. This is overdue, and I wish you the best on your channel. Thank you so much. See, like, that's fucking awesome. I can love everybody. All right.
Hey, Fatman, are you on?
Yeah, I'm on.
He's like, I'm tired of this love. Ah! I need Fat Man.
Alright, so let's,
Enough about this, lads. When we get to the freaking guns.
When we get to Robin.
so we still on chapter 11?
Let's see.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just kind of flipping between the two. I don't really have a care in the world about which one we're
You-
talking
No.
about.
Is there
If
anything else
anybody
that we
out
can
there-
discuss?
about both.
Anyone out there have any questions at me? Make sure you at me so I can see them about chapter 11 alone.
Okay.
If we missed anything that you thought that you didn't like in the reaction, or that you want to yell at us for, go for it.
Yeah, I just wanted to raise the point that, like, and this has been the problem with RWBY since Volume 1, is that they just don't spend enough time really establishing anything.
Oh yeah, no, that's always been a problem.
So it's like that's like where, you know, this every issue with RWBY, every issue with the Aesop fight, every issue with even to a lesser extent the Crow and the Crow Clover and we're going to talk about labor, all of that stuff all could be so much better if they just had like one more episode to establish the important elements that set it up, like a personality quirk of Clover's that could have helped instigate the fight, or the character flaws of the Aesops and the character strengths of the Aesops a little more clearly defined in relation to RWBY, or RWBY asking after her mother and talking to people about her and like asking questions about this whole war that she has got herself wrapped up in. No one's really asking questions about that, and that's really starting to bug me. So it's like all those issues could be solved if they just let this, like, they didn't limit themselves to 13 episodes. They should have
My next
Exactly.
question, like, I'm gonna ask something to you guys. I don't know much about Rooster Teeth itself. Has it been said why they only do these types of, like, this amount of time? Like,
Mostly budget.
just budget. Okay, not just budget, but budget.
That would be like the
it
most
also
preventable.
takes forever to render these. I mean,
Yeah.
they talked about, if you look at in Volume 5, anytime they try to render a fire or a torch, it is always in like 10 or 11 frames a second, because the rendering fire, it like they if they had doubled the render time on all of those frames, they would have like missed the deadline for that week. So they're always bumping up against like just the how fast their fucking hardware is.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, they could just get the fire engine from Alone in the Dark and see how that runs for them.
I thought you were going to say like the fire engine from Fireman Sam or something like that. Maybe a tired.
But now they're owned by HBO, correct?
Yeah.
No, they're not owned by HBO, but there's a
They're owned by the
partnership for
company that
Genlock.
owns HBO.
Yeah,
Oh,
Warner
okay.
Brothers.
Alright.
Yeah.
But then that's a whole different kettle of fish. But yeah, I definitely agree. The development of many things has been one of the biggest crutches of RWBY, and I think that's affected not just in terms of like the writing, but again the episode length. I think for as strong as the development in many ways,
You're breaking
I
up,
was-
Dan. I'm sorry. For as strong as the development.
as strong as the development of many things in terms of like the animation, the writing. Again, not all the time, but it's definitely far better than Volume 1. But the one thing that hasn't grown enough with the growth of the series is the episode count, the run times, and that. This is a story that needs more episodes,
Yeah.
but it's at this point it's either not going to or it's later in the game.
I can hear Fatman.
you guys think the writing
running
will
up his
improve
his
with more
argument.
episodes?
Again, no,
That's what
hey,
What,
again,
really? I didn't hear that.
Because Fatman and I have actually gone back and forth on this. Is that he doesn't believe RWBY needs more episodes. He believes it needs to be written better. I believe
I agree
both.
completely.
Well,
I believe it's both. I
having
think they
more-
need more time to write better.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay, looking at what they've accomplished, like in 7 volumes now, that's not 7 volumes worth of things that happened. Like one thing happened in Volume 6, right?
I was gonna say just cut Volume 5. Just cut.
Yeah,
all
yeah,
of
just cut Volume 5.
That's a waste of 14 chapters right there.
that's but see, the problem with cutting Volume 5 is that that's like the most canonical one. I mean, you can cut the
Yeah.
first 4 just fine.
I would say again, Volume 5 is probably I think the biggest example of like where the writing didn't work. Like the pacing of it was awful, and we didn't have. I think that's also another one where it's like we didn't have enough episodes to fully establish enough reasons to give a damn about Haven because we didn't have enough. We didn't have
enough to give a damn about Havens. Period.
well, we didn't have enough
Well-
time to explore that on top of like all the other storylines going on.
I'm sorry, I will be right back.
Okay, you're saying we didn't have enough episodes, but we had 10 episodes where we weren't even there. Like, see, they're not using the time they have. Giving them more time wouldn't help anything. They're like, okay, gonna take volume 6. In volume 6, it's like, okay, we're on the train, we're gonna go there, we're gonna get the airship, we're gonna go to Atlas. That was the thing that happened. They needed to literally break that off. They needed to stop doing that. They're on the train. No, that's going to be too fast. We're going to get there in episode 2, and then we have 12 more episodes to deal with. Like, they had to stop and spend like 4 episodes walking around the woods. Those were good episodes they spent walking around the woods. And they they used that time to establish that Ozpin is a dickhead. But once they got there, they again had to pull the handbrake with the Cordovan thing. Like,
Which was a mistake.
Yeah, basically. So you're saying they need more episodes when they fucking waste episodes on bullshit. Like, they don't need more episodes. They need to be less afraid to do more than one thing in a volume.
Volume, yeah.
They really just they don't write well, and giving them more time to not write well isn't going to solve any problems. I think if they had less episodes, if they had to cut the shit, if they had 3 episodes to do volume 6, it would have been way better.
I do get that. In terms of like, if you had to rank of like which is the biggest detriment to the pacing and all that of the story, it would be more the writing than the episode count or than the runtime. But at the same time, I could also say like, say for some of these episodes in volume 7, I would say like it would be easier to have an extra episode where we had just an episode focused on the training for RWBY versus Aesop's. That's something that you can't. I think you could fit in terms of like a better paced and better structured writing, but then that's also something that you can get with another episode. I think it's like they could both solve the same problem. It's just like, which one do you choose, and which one do you feel would have the biggest positive of the writing?
As we speak, writing down ideas for that right now, because I just got a burst of inspiration for fixing volume 7, even though that's literally 4 years away.
see, Dan, in your mind, you're thinking, okay, in order to make the fight work, let's do something with the montage and expand it and have more scenes and have it be an entire chapter. In my mind, I'm thinking, don't have them beat the fucking Aesops at the end. That's my mind goes.
Yeah. There's see, like, I mean, writing is a
write in a different way.
Yeah, writing is like I'm gonna use the wrong word on purpose, so nobody call me out. Writing is like a zero-sum game where it's like you hold all the cards. You're basically just god of the show you're writing. So you can, when you're thinking about how to fix it, how to change it, how would it be better? This would be better if I put in more episodes to space out, to space out and establish more things. Or this would be better if I took the limited things that we have and play off of them in a more well constructed way. Those are both like equally valid, but also equally useless when we're looking at the reality of what exists. How, like, because adding, like, of course you can add more, you can continue to add more, and that maybe that's good. Maybe you're adding stuff that recontextualizes what we already have to fix it, but that stuff, it doesn't exist in our reality when we're watching the show. Did that make any sense?
No,
I'm not
I
paying
want to
attention
use
on
the
writing.
term. I want to bring back the term bullshit goggles. You guys are talking about, like, oh, it's RWBY never talks about her mom, but you got to put on your bullshit goggles. Oh, Summer is Ruby's mom. Of course. They're just coded in that way. This is a relationship that we don't need to establish because it's intuitive to everyone.
I do see a point.
Hold on. I'll let you go. The Aesops, very clearly, we got the big one, we got the fast one, we've got the lame one, and we've got the other lame one, and then the other lame one. They're all lame, but we have all of them, but they have very clear parallels to the characters in RWBY. Even though I thought that Elm was a Nora parallel, I guess she's big and strong, and that's also kind of like Yang. But we have those parallels, and they're the best guys. So obviously, these are the aspirational versions of RWBY, and they are going to surpass them. This is the bad writing. This is the seeing through the bad writing of it all. Like we called that in episode 3. Like they're gonna betray and they're going to lose. We knew, and it happened. So establishing it more would have made it make more sense. Probably would have made it like but we knew that was what was going to happen, so they didn't bother. Go ahead, Dan.
I do get what you're trying to say. I will admit I was a little bit lost at some points, but I think that might just be on my end because again I'm trying to like process it on my end and then get my point across as well. Again, I can see where like if you had to choose which one would be the best way to fix the pacing, fix the structure, fix of like how to better explain this and that, explain why this happened and that, it would be the writing. Because that would also be the most cost effective. It's easier to change the writing than to add another episode and then add everything that an episode requires to that. I just think that there is still some benefits that at least even just like one extra episode can give, even if it's not like the most pivotal chapter towards the narrative. Like again, one chapter maybe where we had the training with Aesops and RWBY. Also, on top of other that, we see more examples of where, say, what else can I add on? Like more situations of like why Mantle is in the shits. We get more examples of what the situation for the Faunus is like. We go into it's like I can't think of it at the moment because again I'm trying to think on the fly. But like there is benefits towards why you could have another new episode add just even one or two, not to like stretch out what's already established there because it's to why we have the montage. There's obviously more that we could have needed. Definitely there. I just think that there is still some benefits to why you would have an extra episode just to add into more depth, more characterization, more examples of why future events will happen. Again, yeah, if you would have to choose like which is the best avenue to fix or at least sharpen up the writing to better explain why stuff happens, it would be the writing. That's just the easiest one, the most effective one. Then you're going into like, okay, this could have happened, but it didn't.
In the hands of better writers, I would give more chapters to. The problem is these writers haven't shown the capability of writing well with the chapters that are given to them. So making it 16, 17, 18 chapters kind of scary because
yeah, maybe so. I think there's definitely a case where I think even like the Kruby I've mentioned in the past when people have asked like, oh, are you going to have this amount of episodes or are we going to see more? Like, I think they clearly made it clear that they would like more episodes, but for whatever reason, this is the hand that they're dealt with. And obviously they could do much better with it in some parts, but we say that for so many things, it's like, yeah, it's a repeating issue.
It is.
Do we want to move on to a next thing because we're still kind of skirting around episode 11? I think a lot of people
move on to the next part then. which is what?
Well, it would be Ironwood's reaction, I guess.
Yeah, strong, good stuff. I loved Ironwood's reaction to the Black Queen, chest beat and all that crap. I like the whole the funny thing, the thing that's interesting is that people were calling Ironwood evil. Like, what
No,
is going
he's
on?
not evil.
That
He
was
is not
that was
evil.
annoying. Like, you should be able to see both sides and understand both sides, right?
Yeah.
No one's a bad guy here. No one's evil. You're allowed to
It-
pick a side depending on how you feel, but no one's a villain. It's like it's like the Captain America Iron Man thing. Iron Man wanted to sacrifice certain people. Captain America was like, no, Captain America and RWBY are set up to always make the world.
At the risk of spoiling a little bit of what Reaper Cipher and I discussed, he did point out that it does seem like the people that Team RWBY fight are often set up as the fall people for the moral, the flawed moral position. In that basically, if there is someone who opposes Team RWBY morally, that when Team RWBY challenges them, Team RWBY always wins in that circumstance. And I can see that. And so the idea is basically the idea is the show is trying to say, oh, look, Ironwood's position is bad, which
Correct.
I can kind of see that. But the thing is, the show has done such a damned good job of establishing that Ironwood's plan isn't actually, it's actually legitimately, I think, making people ask themselves, what would you do in that situation? And there's not a good answer. There's a really bad, like me and Vex, no, not me and Vex, me and Reaper, we went back and forth for like half an hour trying to decide on like a middle ground to the trolley problem. And even the solution we came up with is not a very good one. It's just, it's not.
Ironwood's plan is logically sound, but it's the morals that it's why the characters like Winter said, it's like it's the tough choice that they don't have to make. Ironwood makes it, and that's what pushes Ironwood into the position where he's not a villain. He's doing things what he believes is for his best intentions. Obviously, elements like Salem, things have happened in Mantle and all that has pushed him into this in a bad sense. But at the same time, it's like you can understand both sides. And I think that's one of the best things about this is like the volume finale, like I guess antagonist in a way, isn't a big monster grim or just an out villain. No, it's someone that we have conflicting emotions about because we have an understanding of where he's coming from, but we also understand where the heroes are coming from, and we don't want to see the worst outcome. And then we're obviously nervous and excited for whatever happens. And I do like that this is a fresh volume finale conflict.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say the worst thing you can call Ironwood is a coward.
Oh no.
Like oh, we should stand and fight versus oh, we should run away. But like
No.
yeah, he's kind of like I mean both sides have, you know, good points. Like we have to keep the relics out of Salem's hands, and Ruby's you know, position is basically, well, we can do that without abandoning these people.
Humanity. Yeah.
Yeah. And
But she doesn't really know that. She's just saying that because she's trying to take the morally correct path. But she didn't know for a fact that they could stop Salem if she came with her army. She doesn't know what's coming.
Yeah, they're flawed in their things. Like we got to do this now, even though we don't have an answer for the actual big threat.
Yeah.
But this is the issue that we have on our hands. We are sworn to protect these people. Like if the kingdom falls, like even with like how disconnected the world is, if Atlas falls, that is going to send more negative shockwaves across the world for those who are able to find out, and then once it's more well known, and that's going to cause even more issues down the road for when we are trying to build this unity again. So there's a very fitting challenge for now, but obviously it's like both sides have their goods, their bads. It's a very moral gray situation, and again, because we've had the best thing about this is like we've had not just this volume, but like so many volumes now where we've got an understanding of Ironwood, and then in this one we've understood like how the events in the past have broken him and pushed him into a sense where he's tipping on the edge. And of course, the actions of both the heroes and the villains have affected this, and now it's
Jesus.
it's something that's like it's very, again, it's fascinating, and I'm very excited to see, because I think we can all agree that we don't think. I mean, it's already made well established. Like Volume 8 is going to carry on the narrative that Volume 7 is carrying on at the moment.
Mhm.
I'm just very curious to see what note the Volume 7 ends on, because I don't think it's going to end positive.
No, yeah, it's not gonna be positive. No way.
No.
No.
Yeah, but again, anyone who thinks that Ironwood is a villain, I think is just a
Yeah,
faint.
They're not.
It's not black and
they're-
white.
they're-
It's not black and white.
Yeah, people who think Ironwood are the villain are in the wrong mindset.
No,
Mhm.
I think that they're too loyal to their favorite characters, especially if it is Team RWBY, to think, I was like, okay, you're up against Team RWBY, then you're a bad person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, no, they're the roadblock, they're the issue, they're the hurdle that they have to face. It's just someone that we know, and someone who is about to make a very dangerous and very catastrophic
Sorry for
decision.
like laughing over here, but it just reminds me of you follow Fatman falling, then I will not follow you, or something. But it's it's people are allowed to have their thoughts.
But guys, I'm considered one of the nicest people here. I'm hanging with these guys.
Yeah.
These guys are
Fucking
cool.
Take a look, man. Take a look.
Yeah. I'm Team RWBY in this situation. These guys, they're kind of Ironwood, I guess. just because we don't agree on the situation doesn't mean that these guys are all villains. Doesn't mean that
I
I'm the
only
good
murder
guy.
people occasionally.
Oh god.
I think I said
I
in
spank
the
him for it.
reaction. Yeah, I think I said in the reaction, less people to unite
I know, right?
Jesus.
as a justification for leaving Mantle.
The
Yeah.
first time you
I mean,
said kill that maiden, I was like, "Ooh, hey!" Raymond and I were like, "Oh, hey, let her die." She's like, "Nah,
I think
kill her, bitch."
either way, though, whatever happens, there is going to be less people to help the long term effect. Whether it's the city of Atlas goes screwy and Ironwood is like out of the picture for a while, or people die. It's like there's going to be some losses. Like we had in this episode, there are some losses that will affect future battles and weakens the hero's side.
Definitely, you said the word fascinating. Like it's just fascinating. Like there's no, where's morals? Where's morals? Yeah, good times.
Here's a question. This is kind of a question about the future. But do you think Crow will kill Ironwood?
I hope not.
No, I don't want Ironwood. I mean, I don't want him to die because we've had a lot of the headmasters die. I don't want the last living headmaster right now to be I believe it was Professor Theodore in Vacuo, who we're going to find out through Before the Dawn.
The fact that they definitely like made sure we all heard Crow say, "I will make him pay" or whatever the heck he said.
No, James
that
will take
kind
the
of-
fall.
Yeah, I'll make sure of it.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh,
Yeah.
Garbage line.
I hope not.
The way I see it, I think but he's going to be in a state of emotional breakdown where even if he's alive, he's not going to be any current aid to the heroes until down the line when, I don't know, maybe he is talked into a better sense, maybe by Ozpin or by Oscar, and then he rekindles himself and aids the heroes there.
My dark.
But either way,
minds, sort of
either
wishes,
way, he's going to be
suicide.
out of commission by the end of this arc.
I hope Ironwood
hear me?
kills Crow.
I said my dark brain tells me, not hopefully, but wishes suicide for that he would do something about that. Like, yeah, I did the wrong thing. You know, I don't know. That'll be interesting for Ironwood. Yeah,
But
Oh, okay.
Headspace-
Yeah.
Why did he do the wrong thing?
that's what I'm saying. He would think that. That's why he couldn't commit suicide.
I think
don't-
He was like, I should have did it quicker and kill himself because Salem would be right around the corner. Like she's like 5 minutes away.
no, I
my
think.
take on this. No, you can go.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. My take on this is that I think that we pointed out that 3 and 5 ended with deaths of headmasters. So 7 ends with the death of a headmaster. It would be fitting. I think Ironwood may die, and I think him dying here wouldn't be the worst thing. I think he might go out on a high note as a character-wise, with all the decisions he's made and all he's done. So kind of like Watts, him and Watts will be forever kind of cemented as like 2 really good things about the show, so long as they both stay dead.
Like Torchwick.
Yeah, like Torchwick. And
Like
now we have
Pilot Boy.
Penny back on the board. Penny's back on the board, which is scary.
Pilot boy.
Pilot Boy,
Yes.
and his husband who died in the plane crash in this episode.
Just because one other thing is like the only reason why I'm not so certain as well of like Ironwood dying is because I think if they have that alongside the very likely possibility that Pietro will die, I think that would be two big heavy losses for
Pietro, I don't
Atlas.
like. If Pietro dies, I will be so underwhelmed. It will be the most.
No,
'cause
heavy
they
losses
haven't
for
really-
whom, Dan?
I'd yawn.
For
I
whom?
think that would be too many big heavy losses in terms of like the forces side
forces side.
of Atlas that will affect us in the hero in the future when we need backup and support like that. Either way, again, I think Ironwood will be out of commission either by death or by
More
just
metal on his body?
morally broken, out of position.
I was gonna say because like then you have to ask the question of if he's out of commission, if he's killed, what happens to Atlas? Assuming that Atlas does not fall this volume completely.
I think Winter might be forced into the position of
Winter is
being
forced into
temporary
position.
leader.
And I'm thinking whatever happens between Winter, Penny, and the Maiden catalyzes Winter to take the same hardline approach as Ironwood to somehow see. And I think what's going to happen is that it's going to be the fight between Cinder, with Cinder, where Winter is about to lose, and Penny has to sacrifice her moral virtue, where she believed that basically she was kind of siding with Team RWBY without knowing it. She'll have to sacrifice her virtue by killing the Maiden and granting Winter the powers of the Maiden. So not only do we have a Maiden in charge, it's Winter who is now conflicted because she has her sister to take care of, or maybe a rest. So it's like that will put them, and then you have the Aesops who will probably want a revenge story, and I don't like that idea. I really hope the Aesops don't come back.
Nah.
I don't know. I don't trust this. I don't trust this.
How about Cinder blows up Penny and then Pietro activates Penny Mark III dying and
Sounds about right.
and then
Have you
and
guys?
there's literally just a second Penny versus Cinder fight in that episode.
Have any of you guys played Xenoblade Chronicles 2?
Nope.
No.
Ah, shame. Because there's a synthetic girl that goes from like a very cute girl, kind of like Penny, to a more teamed up girl like Penny is now, and then there's an adult version down the line for different reasons. Like maybe, but nah, I don't think we're gonna get Penny dying. At least I don't think Penny will die within the next 2 volumes. I think Penny, if she will die, will be something down the future.
Then bring her right back.
Nah, I
Who's
think
the character in question? I'm curious now.
John's gonna walk up to Pietro and be like, "I'll recharge your aura." Here you
All
go.
right. Here you go.
Nah, Pietro's I think dead man walking as soon as they establish dead man sitting, I guess, but it's like the moment they
Spider walking.
established sit
Dude,
walking.
They're bringing Pure back next volume. Come on, man.
All right. Now, real quick, we're gonna go at the beginning of
No,
volume.
it's gonna be volume 9.
And
It's gonna be
Roman.
volume
And
9.
Roman.
Let's go to the beginning of chapter 12. Okay.
Is it?
Oh,
if we can move on.
Isn't this something that I said in the reaction that like we're gonna cut to like Salem showing up and then like zombie Watts that she like raised from
Zombie
the grave?
Clover. You said zombie Clover.
Yeah, zombie Clover. Yeah, yeah. Like I don't know. I think this is totally possible that they're just gonna start bringing people back.
I know many people have been long talking about this whole these people who are dead, they'll be brought back to life. It's like I get that, and obviously it will be like a huge emotional moment when the characters who do get come back meet the characters most affected to them. But it's like, I'm so conflicted about that plot point because it would be emotionally engaging, yes, but it's like I want deaths to matter, especially for characters that have their deaths have made such a huge impact on several characters. Like I loved Pyrrha. She was one of my favorite characters. Especially after the scene in August, I want her to stay dead because I want her memory to be the most living thing about her, inspiring the people forward. If we get Pyrrha brought back from the dead, it will hurt for that one moment, and then when Pyrrha has to die again because gotta beat the bad guys, it's like, oh yeah, Pyrrha's dead again. It hurts, but it doesn't hurt as much as like the fact that like she's
It
dead.
hurts my heart.
Here's the thing. I actually could see Pyrrha being brought back, or other characters being brought back as antagonists, as some kind of zombified form of them. The problem I fear is bringing them back to give them some kind of extended redemption, some kind of like have them succeed beyond that.
And that kind of what
like the
happened with
idea is
Naruto.
that- I like the idea is that like John is forced to put down Pyrrha. Like the idea is that there is no kind of way to bring them back. You deliver unto them. It's basically just a monster with a facsimile of Pyrrha. And like in the final moment, you could have Pyrrha like have a single tear as John kills her, and it's just like that could work.
I was kidding about the whole bringing people back thing. I hate that fact that Penny's back. Everyone should stay dead and never come back.
Yeah. Again, like that will hurt for that one specific moment where they come back, they're twisted, they're corrupted, and then obviously it will hurt when they die again. But it's so much more impactful for them to remain dead now because it's such a final element to like their story was so cruelly cut where it did, and their deaths affected.
If Pyrrha comes back, I will eat a shoe. Just like
Penny,
Fatman's
Penny,
gonna eat a shoe this
Penny, I accepted because there was always that.
Betrayal. I don't
No, they didn't do the betrayal.
Penny, I was always cool.
We'll talk.
That's not a betrayal. But I'll stay out of it. I'll stay out of it.
Penny came back, and I really hate the "but she's a robot" thing, and they gave a slight explanation to it.
Don't get me started.
No,
Don't get me started.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's like how they explained how she came back
Don't get me started.
didn't quite work.
Same back.
But I still would much rather have that because that's still something that we can understand. All right, you fix something that's broken, that's fine. It does lose some of the emotional edge to that. That's fine. But then for that exact reason why you lose the emotional edge with like a character that is magically brought back to the death, and you also have to take the leap of logic of accepting they've been brought back to the death, brought back to life by corrupted evil means.
Yes, I've been brought back to death.
Again, it's the emotional impact that will be good. Emotional impacts will be good for one episode. The permanent, long-lasting death that's affected and carried on throughout this story is such a more longer-lasting. Like people still feel sad about Pyrrha's death now.
Resurrection, like anything, and I did an entire video on this. Resurrection, like anything, is a tool of storytelling. I don't discount it in this circumstance. The problem is execution. I definitely do not have the faith that this show can pull off because they've already proven they can't pull off a resurrection with Penny. They didn't do it successfully there. I don't think they could pull off a resurrection of Pyrrha, but I'm saying I think A, it's on the table, and B, it's not the worst idea on the table either. It's just like with these writers.
It's all in the execution. It's all in the execution.
Yeah. Despite my reservations about it, I'm fully aware and accepting that it's still a very likely possibility at some point as well. And if it's executed well, I would be over the moon. All my issues about it would be qualmed, even though I would still have like a little ickliness about it.
Yeah.
Guys, if you know,
it's one of those plot points that's been so abused. And again, I mentioned it before. It's kind of been abused in Naruto.
this is all like crackpot theories.
My biggest.
I agree with you, Dan. I agree with you.
Wanna continue with the actual like episode.
Chapter.
Don't wanna get stuck on
Yes.
something like that. Don't
All
wanna
right,
be
so
rude
I've
or
been wanting to talk about
But real
Robin.
quick,
from the
okay,
beginning.
but hold on.
Yeah.
I will get. Let me get started.
No.
The beginning. Fuck you. The beginning. The beginning. Where all right.
Dashing Vex has been blue balled on this outburst for a while.
Don't worry.
Let the man have
believe
his
me,
release.
believe me, my love. I got him. Don't worry. The beginning. All right. She's screaming, Ironwood, blah 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 blah, and then in the plane, Clover gets up, and Robin's like, "No, I want to shoot him." What a fucking moron! I'm sorry. What a fucking moron.
Yes.
Why?
But this is what happened.
Tell me, Vexed. Why?
The writers are like, all right, we need to have this big fight on the ground
Okay,
because
sit
we
back.
plan to have this fight where Tyrion stabs Clover, so we have to have the plane crash. What do? We'll have Robin be a dumbass. she'll get up. She'll be all upset. Because she's not on the wanted list, right? So she's like, "Oh, I'm not on the wanted list. You should have put me on." I'm joking. That's not what you're talking about.
Parker says Robin thought she was the main character.
What? I'm not. He doesn't respect me. He's enough to put me on the damn wanted list. He put these kids on the wanted list and not me. What? She's like, "Oh no." She's like, "I'm upset. I'm gonna attack the man with the good luck semblance in a plane, thousands of feet in the air, with the murderer who's been killing people in Mantle on board, and I'm not under arrest like a complete moron. Just to crash the plane."
Vex,
Eh.
do you kind of understand those like
No, I'm joking. Go ahead.
uh,
Go ahead.
would you at least understand like, oh, Ironwood's about to sacrifice my hometown, the people that I'm so defending on. It's like
Yeah,
that. Do you accept that? Obviously, emotional outburst. She's
I'm-
vitriol about it.
I'm fine with her being upset. She can be upset. She can be angry, yell. The problem is she attacked Clover. That's the problem. She can be upset, like this is bullshit, blah blah.
Yeah.
Why the hell are you attacking Clover right now? Clover wants to arrest Crow. If let's say you want to attack Clover, wait till the damn plane lands. Then you're like, know what? After it gets an R, now I'm gonna make my move. Why the fuck are you 1,000 feet in the air attacking Clover?
Yeah. The only
It
thing
makes
I'm
no
willing
sense.
to give her, if anything, is paranoia. The end. That's it. But her
be
actions
upset.
were.
You be
I
upset.
think it goes in line with one of the themes of the volume where consequence is a thing. Like everyone's having to face the consequences of their actions, and also you're saying like, okay, just wait for the airships to arrive. It's like, yeah, after having that emotional outburst, I just find it funny the idea of them just sat down back nervously, just like,
It's
so when are we getting there? It's like, oh, 15 minutes. Oh
It's-
Christ, I have to bottle this up for 15 minutes.
it's plot induced stupidity. That's what it is. Plot induced stupidity.
No.
There's no reason for Robin to attack Clover in this instance. There's no reason for her to do it besides wanting Tyrion to escape and wanting Tyrion to crash the plane.
Or self defense.
If she
There was
gets
no
all the way,
self-defense.
if she gets all the way to Atlas, there will be more people than just Clover there.
Like who? These bum ass security
he's
officers.
right, he's
No,
right.
the rest of the Aesops.
Yeah.
The Aesop's were in the freaking were dealing with
He
T.
doesn't know that.
Yeah, but they don't know
Yeah,
that.
she didn't
They do
know.
not know
Oh
that.
my.
They don't have the same
Are you-
perception we do.
Vex, what about this though?
She wasn't under arrest.
But what about this though? Say, for instance, they were riding a truck, not an airship. Would you still have the misgivings about them having a fight in there or something like that? Just because it's in the air where it's more dangerous?
There is no reason for her to attack Clover.
I disagree.
Why is there a reason for her to attack Clover?
Because Clover is adamant right now that he is willing to go up against Crow to follow Ironwood's orders. And the first thing that he said immediately after her outburst and immediately after the call was like, I'm sure Ironwood is aware of the enormity of this decision. So immediate then, that's putting Clover in the position like, I'm defending Ironwood. So in Robin's mind, Clover, you are now in my way. I am going to get through you to get back to Mantle and get back to Alice and stop Ironwood. It's obviously, here's the thing. I am so glad, I am happy to see the heroes make stupid decisions because guess what? We're humans. We are stupid fucking morons.
Stupid decision is one thing. I'm not excusing. Oh, she's a human, therefore she can just do whatever dumbass shit she wants to do. No, there's external. This woman's running for a seat on the Atlas Council. She's not a dumbass.
The council.
Okay,
The council.
listen. Clover says, "I don't know what's going on, man. I gotta take you in, man." Crow's like, "Yeah, I understand. Let's keep our cool." She's the only one flipping out. Look, there's no way. You can't explain it to me. I'm sorry.
Here's the thing. In the first episode we meet her in, which is in episode 4 or 5, she was willing to back down when the odds were against her, and we had Crow and Clover who were both like, chill the fuck out.
Yes,
now,
they were.
Here's the thing. If you had that just piss her off more, and then she got more irate, and then more irate, and you actually maybe extended that scene a little bit longer where she worked herself up into a frenzy and got too angry and attacked immediately, instead of having that cool calculated quip of, I agree, and then opening fire, which she agreed with a homicidal maniac.
I know, right?
Tried to
Yeah, I
kill one of
agree.
her friends.
What the fuck?
I think that kind of goes in line with like the whole thing is like Tyrion's just played everyone for a fool.
No,
And yeah,
no,
stop.
Let people talk.
Clover's like, please, I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to fight. I don't want to arrest you. Please, he's
Not
pleading
that
with her.
evil.
Please.
Yeah, he's pleading, but also at the
She's a
same time,
dumbass.
again, he's pleading, and again, it's like, yeah, she's foolish for going up against Clover in the situation that they were in, causing more tension. Crow trying to clearly show that this is not working out. This is something that Tyrion made a statement. It's clear that this is obviously what the villains would want. This is not going to aid them at all. But at the same time, it's like, what else is she going to do? She's emotionally on edge. She's
Damn woman.
yeah.
The problem in this circumstance.
No.
She
I'm
had
kidding.
no choice
Go
but
ahead,
to
Dan. I'm
shut her
sorry.
ear
Go
on
ahead.
Clover.
I'm sorry. I interrupted. Go ahead.
Sorry, it's like you mentioned like she's on the council. Like, yeah, that's good. But like, no, she wants to go on the council. Yeah, that's good.
No.
The council means moot right now because Ironwood's initiating martial law.
You know, you
So
missed
it's
my point. You missed my
Let
point. I'm
him-
saying she. No, I'm saying he's before he continues. He missed my point completely with the council thing. I'm saying she should be intelligent. She's not dumb. That's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about. I don't care about this council in terms of what it means for her. I'm talking about in terms of her intelligent level. She shouldn't be
Okay.
stupid.
Okay.
That's what I'm
right.
saying.
Okay. Fair enough there. I'm just trying to plead the case like in this situation is like where Clover is already made his point clear that he is not willing to abide in the fact that, oh, this is a stupid idea from Ironwood. No, he immediately made the case like, yeah, this is a bad one, but I'm siding with Ironwood. And when you have the emotions, like, again, keep in mind, we just had the situation where Mantle was on the verge of destruction by the Grim. Robin's already had to face the possibility of her city being destroyed. Now it could be on the verge of being destroyed again by the only person that was able to help keep it safe in the first place beforehand. She's on the situation now where it's like, if I don't do something, maybe there's no hope because she has no situation like what the latest is with the students, the other kids. And again, the fact that Clover was already willing to go up against Crow, despite their buddiness there, it's stupid.
Okay.
The-
If I may
it's stupid. It's
interject,
Right.
I'm
because
trying.
I
just
think we're
it's
all
tonight.
handling the problem incorrectly. Because I think the major problem here is actually Clover, and this is more to
Yes.
how he is written. This is more to how Clover is written.
Okay.
I think Clover should have been much less agreeable than he was portrayed in the scene. And this goes back to the whole complaint is we don't know a lot about the Aesops. We don't know a lot about Clover. He's from what little we can tell, we can maybe extrapolate he's a diehard Ironwood, badass. He's very dyed in the wool for Ironwood. He should have been much less agreeable. He should have been, all right, Crow, stand up. I got to arrest you. And that's when Robin stands in to defend him. And Crow's like, no, wait, just everyone chill the fuck out. We can just get back and talk to Ironwood. And Clover's like, man, I got to arrest you. That's how this operates. And he's very adamant about doing this by the book. Crow's adamant, we can do this peacefully. We can get back. And then Robin is much more of the rebel of, you're not arresting him, period, because, and Ironwood is not abandoning Mantle. That's where the energy should have come from. But the problem is Clover it didn't seem very intent on arresting Crow. He didn't seem like very interested. If he had just been a little more interested in that, then all of a sudden Robin lashing out makes more sense.
Yeah.
than him
Maybe
replying,
so,
and
but
then
then-
You have to either
Hold
make.
on,
You have
Raymond,
to
were you done?
I was gonna say then Crow steps in to try and keep the two separated, starting a 3-way fight instead of a 2v1. And then during that, obviously, Tyrion gets loose, knocks down the ship, it crashes. A little more time in work into the scene, and
Okay.
it could have been really good.
You have to either make Clover. Yeah, I agree. The scene work her anger would make more sense, or her aggressiveness would make more sense. Had Clover been more of an asshole, or Clover been more aggressive, had he been more of a had he made more of a scene, have he completely turned on them? But he was all cordial and understanding, all right, let's figure this out, guys. Like she's the one flipping out. Like had he been more of an asshole or more of an aggressor, it seemed would have worked. But you had to pick one. Either you make Clover more aggressive, you make Robin more stupid.
Vex,
You have to pick one. You can't.
do you think Clover was like, oh, let's figure this out?
Yes,
Really?
absolutely, he was.
It
Yes.
was Crow
watch
that
the
was
scene.
that.
He said,
Crow said, let's figure this out.
He got up and said, Crow, I gotta. He's the freaking military. Of course, you're gonna try to arrest him. That's the way that we supposed to do. I'm gonna put you on arrest. She said, she got up and talking crazy and please, Clover. She said, no, Clover. She said, please, Robin. Crow's under arrest. I don't want to
Don't make
arrest
me
you too.
arrest you too.
And she started flipping green with Tyrion. Yeah, Tyrion yeah, fight. She's like, yeah, he's right.
Tyrion, yeah.
Shot the arrow. It's asinine.
One thing I would also bring up is we also had, I think you can say it's another example in the past of Robin, when she's immediately faced with someone who's opposing something that she's trying to do for the betterment of her city, she would immediately act. When Blake and Yang were gonna jump on her in the truck scene, she didn't stay to listen. She didn't hear them out until she was pushed against the wall in a situation where she was pretty much given no course but to listen at that point after the tussle. So I think that is kind of a precedent for where Robin is very prone. She's so passionate about her city that it blinds her sometimes to making rash, reckless decisions.
So consistency then, okay.
Yeah.
Get in here, Fatman.
Okay. The thing that I was complaining about in fucking episode 5 was that she didn't attack Tyrion, or not Tyrion. She didn't attack Clover and the rest of those guys when she had, you know, a goal, right, and an objective to get the supplies to go fix the wall. She just backed off when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
I think in
And
that sense, you could also say
then-
oh,
Hold on, Fatman.
Go ahead, Fatman.
And because of that, the wall didn't get fixed and people are dying.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay.
She learned from that instance.
Okay.
She learned from that she can't let these people run the show. She has to step in. She has to do it herself. I'm on her side in this. I think that she's acting in defense of Mantle, and she has no faith and no reason to have faith that these Atlas fuckers have any passion for Mantle.
Wow.
So her plan of action is to shoot arrows at Clover with the good luck semblance, 1,000 feet in the air, with Tyrion on board, on the way to.
She had to try.
I just can't go there. My mind just can't go there.
Yeah,
No, there's better ways to go about it. She's smart. She's not that stupid. She can say, "Okay, I'm gonna pretend to go along with them for a second." Then second we land, there's something. Come on.
Like, okay, there are it's the good old saying, well, when you put it like that, of course it's stupid. she had I'm of the opinion that she had to try something.
In that moment,
getting to Atlas, if they got to Atlas, she would have lost her window. I mean, she wouldn't have. We know that because we're the omniscient audience viewer, and the other Aesops got their asses kicked. They would have showed up, and everything would have been fine for her. But she didn't know that, so to her, getting to Atlas was the lose state.
Yeah, it was either the case of like I have to try and bank on the fact that I might be able to either knock out Clover or get out of here and make my own way at Atlas, or the chance of sitting and waiting, and then maybe we can talk this out. Maybe I can fix this diplomatically, which is not as confident option for her to take in that situation. Again, with her emotions so desperately charged as it is.
So you're saying she believed, even though she wasn't on the wanted list, that she believed the second they landed, she was fucked. So she had to do something right there at that moment to get out of the situation.
Like, in her mind, Ironwood didn't think that she was going to be a big enough threat to make the decision be changed. Otherwise, in her mind, she would think, oh, if I was on the wanted list as well, that would be her thinking, oh, Ironwood thinks that I could possibly make him change his mind if I'm allowed to speak to him, see him, possibly even like fight him and stop him. But no, in her mind, she's thinking like, Ironwood underestimates me, not even considers me worth being captured to detained and not get in my way.
I see what you guys are saying, but
I think we can all.
I can't go there. She's just. I did think she's being asinine. I did think she's.
The main thing that we can agree for like this scene and for like a lot of scenes to follow in this particular sequence is so many people make stupid mistakes. A lot of it is kind of like instigated by other people, by the actions of other people. But it's like, yeah, there's a lot of stupid actions, a lot of reckless actions, mostly in terms of like the emotions.
What Fatman just said made absolute sense to me. I never even thought of it that way. Like with the wall and all that shit, that was fucking beautiful.
Yeah. Though on that note, kind of like going back to that episode, it's like, could you see like in a case like Robin tried to go the diplomatic route because if she took it by force, that could affect her chances to get on the council. Because she wasn't aware of like how trustworthy Ironwood and by extension like the Aesop's would be if she did go up against them like with physical force, and then that's why she only did it when there was no recourse after the election.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
And why she didn't take them by force when Clover was going to fight anyway, because Penny was there and she was not willing to go up against someone like Penny.
Yeah, that was Raymond's point in that episode, that like she didn't think she could win against Penny.
Yeah, she clearly felt that she was outmatched at that point. She tried to take it this route, even though she was obviously adamant about getting the supplies. And it's where the breakdown's like, okay, this is Robin now. This is Robin when she's on the edge. This is Robin when she's like, she's not willing to sit back anymore. She's willing to fight possibly a losing battle just on the hope that she might be able to make a difference still.
And by that,
Let's be real.
and,
She
and
really
shooting
wanted
and
to
shooting
fight
at
it.
Clover was going to accomplish that in that moment.
She had to hope. She had to hope that fighting somewhat.
Yeah, I don't think my mom will get there. I'm sorry, I'm trying.
Well,
I
what about
don't
she's-
think you necessarily have to get there.
Yeah, no, you
It's-
don't have to. That's fine.
It was a bad decision, but it was.
Okay.
She
her
had to
decision.
try.
Fair enough.
For,
Fair enough.
For me, what I don't understand is like everybody's like blaming this and that and that. Whatever. The one thing I'm gonna say about like writing, I guess, is that lucky ass shot of that arrow that let Tyrion
Yeah.
loose. Like really, really,
Oh,
like
can-
oh my god.
Can we all agree
Well,
at least?
that's Crow's bad luck in action, right?
Can we at least-
All right,
can we at
Jesus
least-
Christ, Fatman, you're getting me left and right over here. Woo.
Can we at least agree that the best thing about that scene was Tyrion wearing the hat?
Oh my
Yes.
fucking god, yes, yeah.
He's
I
never
lost
looked
it.
so dapper.
He was like, dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. Poor pilot boy
Mommy.
husband.
Look at me, mommy. Salem, I'm driving a vehicle, and now I'm a postman.
For our god, that was really good though. That I'm telling you,
Josh has been killing it with the voice acting in these last 2 episodes.
like Tyrion, yeah, definitely stole the show. Like I said, it was incredible, incredible.
He was the only one who wasn't stupid.
Yeah, he was
No,
IQ 12,000. Yep.
Yeah,
Playing
Tyrion-
Crow like a goddamn fiddle.
Yeah, in my mind, Tyrion was like, "Well, I can't believe how dumb these guys are." Great, I'm gonna watch. I'm watching all this. Like, he could have escaped. To like, no, I'm gonna watch these two fight.
All he needed was popcorn.
We'll see how far they can go. Like, that's. I'm like,
Yeah.
come on.
because he's the guy who loves toying with his prey, and if the prey's going up against each other, hey, you're just making it more fun for me. Free ride on a show.
Especially if they're
And to dislocate his thumbs like that, and then the reaction to that was like amazement.
Yeah,
like,
that was gross.
Oh my god, that was beautiful. That was crazy character right there. And Raymond,
When
yes,
you-
you were right about that. Mm.
Going to that scene now, like post the crash. What do you guys think about Crow's line where he says like, "That's how it always goes"? Like, obviously talking about like how his fate is just riddled with people.
Not the voice acting, because that voice acting was rough.
Rough in a good way or rough
No,
bad?
not in a good way. It was like
That was-
"That's in a
That was
good-
the
that-
like the one
that's
moment where I just
Oh, he's good.
it sounded like he was forcing it really hard. It didn't
Yeah,
sound
like
like
something.
"Hey, my name is Crow. I'm gonna do all these things." It sounded like "My name is Crow. I'm gonna do all these things."
It
Like it
was
sounded like
a
he was
little-
really
it took me
forcing
out.
those, and it didn't sound natural.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, that's
But
fair.
as far as
in
what
the
it
beginning-
means, yeah, I think it has a lot behind it. Go ahead, Fatman.
No. Like I mean, back like to the new Crow actor. In the beginning, I think he was really trying to do his own thing. Like he was trying to distance himself from the Vic voice, and I think people didn't like that. And now I think he's trying really hard to like go back to the Vic voice. I think he just like wasn't really like confident and didn't own the character.
And
Well,
to me,
it-
like
it
I
could
never
also-
even realized that the voice changed at a point. I was like, oh, that's right. Yeah, it was that good to me. And then that one line was like, oh, that's right.
It could also be a case of like it's very difficult to try and match someone's voice, especially when it's a voice that you don't have
Iconic.
yourself. Because like Jason Liebrecht doesn't sound
Yeah.
near enough as
I
much
mean,
as Vic does.
For what he's doing a
Yeah,
phenomenal
so
job for what he's
it's
doing.
clearly him forcing as close to the voice as he can to fit, and then still be flexible enough to make his own mark in it. I think it's definitely wobbled at some points, though. I do think for the task it is, because some people just think it's like, oh, I just got sounds like it's like people thinking it's mimicking a voice. Like, oh, I can mimic Yoda's voice. I could probably be a good voice actor for Yoda. Like, no. There's a lot more to it, and it's its own kind of challenge in its own way.
I'm gonna just stop for a moment here. I need to clock out. I am drained. I had a long day today.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm gonna tap out, and I'll see you guys later. All right.
All right, Raymond.
All right,
Thank you.
take
for
care, man.
calling.
All right. Thanks
See
for
ya.
thanks for joining the cast, everybody, all the
bye,
audience.
Raymond.
I'll catch you all on the flip side.
Later.
Later.
Bye bye.
But Dan, going back to your question about what it has behind it, why were you asking? What do you see with that?
It's like I was just wondering, like your takes on like, just like Crow discussing, like he's clearly, for as good as like his rebuilding process has been lately, and like how positive a mindset he's had lately, like the fact that he's still burdened by everything that's happened in the past, like.
Yeah, that's
I'm-
basically it.
me personally, I'm glad that he still has those like those weights
Cynicism?
on his shoulder, because
okay.
it doesn't make him like completely positive.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be freaking awkward if all of a sudden he's the lucky guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as what it has behind it, of course that's his life. Of course he's going to be like that. Of course, it's okay to have a pity party once in a while, and especially of this guy who he really admired. I'm not going to go with the whole love thing. We're going to talk about that later, by the way. I'm not going to go with the whole they were boyfriends, but like he was admiring. He was seeing different points of view from this dude, and you know, he just is betraying him again. Like somebody else is betraying him now, or something else is going wrong.
He's betraying him.
Yeah, I guess.
How?
He's
They
not
both
seeing eye
they-
to eye. How about that? Is that better?
they're still on the edge of like fully cementing
No,
their
that really-
positions. I think that they're both in the position where they're still trying to figure out whose side that they're on, but they do kind of start feeling that feeling of betrayal. It's only when things start to actually in the midst of the fight where they fully have their cemented feels.
Go ahead.
Clover works in the military. Clover and Crow don't know what the hell is going on. That's the point they're making earlier on the plane. I don't know what the hell going on, but I have to take you in. We'll figure it out later. Crow agreed with him. The reason why they're fighting is because Robin's being a dumbass. So now that the freaking plane has crashed, why are they fighting again?
Because Clover
wants to
is
take
that
him in.
point. Yeah, Clover says Robin's hurt. We can get her to a doctor if you let me take you into custody. So at that point, even with Robin out of the picture, Clover is still willing to take Crow in and
And Crow
stop.
should agree.
Well,
Yeah,
What?
Nothing changed on Crow's end.
Nothing changed.
at-
The crazy winch is out of the way.
to play devil's advocate, how certain in Crow's mind can he be that, oh, if I'm arrested, I'm going to be able to stop Ironwood? Like, how certain is he in his mind that if he is taken into custody, that he's able to make some kind of impact? In his mind, I think in his mind, he would feel I can still make more of a difference if I'm not behind bars, not with cuffs, not in a situation where I might be taken out of the picture.
But I think what Vexed is saying is that he would have that would have had to flip during the fight with Robin, like immediately before the crash, because Crow was okay with being taken in.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, before Robin attacked him. Like I understand why.
Was he
Robin-
though?
Yes.
Yeah, he agreed to go in. He was
said-
I forget exactly what he said, but he said like
No,
I will talk
Not
to
to be
James.
taken and to talk about
No.
it all, but now everything
He-
seems to now.
The
be
only
attacking
reason why
each
he
other.
was the only reason why he was trying to stop Robin from fighting is not because he was okay with being arrested. He didn't want there to be a fight when they could still get there and talk it out and then do something then.
Oh, you mean so
He-
Robin's a moron, you're right?
No,
Jesus Christ, Vex. All right.
it was never stated that he was okay with being arrested, especially in that situation. It was like, okay, like I'm now grounded and in a situation where I need to get back to Alice soon. Clover right now is still, even with Robin out of the picture, still looking to be a roadblock. He doesn't want this situation to happen. But yeah, he never made it clear that he was okay with being arrested. He was just not. He was not against. He was not against Robin fighting, and he was not against Clover.
Well,
Go ahead.
differently from being arrested, he was okay with being taken to Atlas because he
yes.
wanted to talk to
Yes.
Ironwood.
Correct.
Yes.
He
At that-
said,
at that-
let's just calm down. Let's go talk to Ironwood. That's what he said.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
so once the plane crashed, why are they fighting?
because Clover states that if you let me take you into custody, so he's saying, all right, if you let me arrest you, it's clear in the state that he's still trying to stop Crow from making any kind of actual impact, or at least not so much just like saying, okay,
Hi,
I'll
Keenan.
arrest you, and like, okay, I'm trying to wrap my head.
yeah,
I'm trying to get my words out because I have issues with this.
It's
Here's an idea, Crow. You don't want to fight Clover? Turn to a fucking bird and take her ass to go talk to fucking Ironwood.
Okay, but then we go into
Vex,
like the issue we had in the
please.
past where we talked about Marrow. Why didn't he just use stay? It's like, okay, in hindsight, yeah, he could have just flown away.
Okay, but explain to me why they started fighting again. Go ahead.
Because Clover states that he is the only reason that he would take Crow back. He's willing. He's gonna take Crow back in custody, whether it's with Crow's compliance or without it. Clover's the only real status is that he is going to take them into custody. There's no guarantee in Crow's mind that that would be a beneficial move. It's in the same vein as like, okay, why don't we just sit and wait for us to get to Atlas, then we'll talk it out, then we can sort out then. It's like,
And
there's no guarantee.
And also,
Especially,
Clover yeeted and didn't care about like anything. He was taking care of himself, and
Good.
didn't help. Fucking vexed, and didn't help at all, like with any situation. But until everything was clear, and then ready.
Wait.
Fucking vexed. Come on, dude. Oh my! Is it happening again? It happened again.
Go for it. You
nah.
lost your train of thought that quickly? I'm sorry. I didn't know. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a bit. I know you lose your train of thought that quick. I'll let you get it back.
Go ahead, Fatman. Please help out. Or just
I'm
say whatever
not
your
sure.
opinion is, even though it's whatever.
Okay, I mean, I get why Robin attacked, and maybe in Crow's mind the situation changed when Robin attacked, even though it doesn't make any sense to us,
Okay.
or me and you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like Crow being okay with or Crow like essentially wanting to talk to that tracks with me, and Robin not wanting to get to or not wanting them to get to Atlas and wanting them to stay in Mantle to protect it. That tracks with me. Crow attacking after Crow attacking after the plane crashed. It is like, I mean, probably just one of those stupid things that the writers did because they wanted a fight. Same thing with Marrow, not.
I gotta interrupt. Blake, thank you so much for the donations, the $10 donations. You have no idea now. I'm so happy. I needed to
thing
just
is,
think
like,
about something else.
throughout
Thank you, Blake,
this whole-
so much. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Go ahead.
Right. Throughout this whole scene with the airship and then the crash, throughout like the trying to stop this from getting into a fight, Clover's stance was still the same. He's defending Ironwood's actions. He is trying to suggest that, like, if you come quietly, we'll get to Atlas. Maybe we'll sort this out. Even after the crash, he was still adamant about taking it into custody. But at no point did it seem like, in Crow's mind, Clover was willing to even consider that Ironwood was going to do something bad. So in his mind, it felt like he again, it's that situation was like, I have to, because right now the only thing that you seem to be doing is at the possibility of getting in my way.
I don't think Clover was defending Ironwood's actions as you phrased it. I think he saw that there were people who were under arrest. He saw the person in front of him who was under arrest. Therefore, he needs to arrest them. He was confused himself. He knew what the hell was going on. All he knows is that what RWBY yelled to him on the phone. He saw they were under arrest. He was confused. Crow's confused. Like, all right, we got to figure out what's going on. My thought process was when he said, "Let's talk to Ironwood." You think Ironwood's not going to talk to Crow if you arrest him? If you arrest him, take him. He'll end up talking to Ironwood eventually. My mind, I thought they said he was thinking, okay, I'm going to arrest. I'll talk to Ironwood once we get there. Then Robin flipped out. Then the plane crashed, and then now they're fighting. So in my mind, I'm thinking nothing changed because in my mind, he's going to talk to Ironwood once he gets arrested, regardless. See what I'm saying?
I can understand that. It's just that.
Also, now there's the danger of like Tyrion is back there. We don't know
Yeah.
what's going on. We got
Tyrion's his own thing where it's like, okay, I gotta deal with this now as well. But like, to me, it was never outright comfortable to, or like certain to any of them that the positive outcome was a strong option, or at least a strong likelihood of happening, especially with like the urgency. Like, okay, we also just had a quick instant call from Ruby's, like, and then immediate cut off. Like, okay, something's going on. I need to get back. They don't know like how long things could happen. They don't know how much time they have. It's the urgency, the heightened emotions, and then just like everything explode into a powder keg where like they have no control. Okay, I gotta do something.
Turn into a bird.
Again, yeah.
I mean, you can say the whole, well, that they didn't want to do that. He didn't make the logical decision because they want to have a fight. Fine, but I'm still going to say it. I still have to say it. Turn it. If you're concerned about your niece and your Ruby and Yang, turn your ass to a goddamn bird and go find them. But
yeah,
okay, so
straight up logic. That would be the best course of action.
Instead of fighting your buddy.
But then
or leaving the buddy with the dude and the dead girl.
Then what you're saying is, but we had to have the fight. What I'm saying is, you can have something else. Just write something else. You're in control of the story. You're writer. Exactly. Get the writers. Write something else. Yeah. You don't have to have that fight. Write another fight later on in the volume. Change the story. You're in control. They're not confined. Not like God came down and said, "This is your script. You have to do this." No, they're in control of it all.
But
maybe the animators said we made the fight.
I know, right? We
already. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Sorry,
but again, just because you could say, all right, why not? We don't do this. Like, yeah. But then at the same time, like, okay, Harry Potter. Why don't I just don't go back to Hogwarts because things keep on going to shit for me? It's like, okay, yeah, you could do that, and then you can have possibly different other conflicts. But then you're not getting the story that the writer wants to tell, the story that they have clearly structured. But again, it's
I mean,
you're looking at one.
Dexorio, shut the fuck up!
The writers are in control. I'm messing with y'all.
Listen, there's stupidity in here and there's logic here. That's really about it. There's both.
Yeah, I think we're kind of in the same situation as the characters. Like, we all have our different stances. Like, we're all adamant about it. It's like we're looking at all the other routes where things could happen, where things maybe should happen. But it's to benefit the story that we're getting told. Well, this is the one that we're getting. There's no what ifs or buts. This is the one that we're getting.
But keep going.
No matter if it's positive or good, you can say like, okay, what if they did this? What if they did that? It's a non-factor because you can debate that, but you're never going to get an outright answer because you don't even know where that could go and where that could go. At least you got many open routes. You have to choose one. Okay, we're on this one. Let's see what happens.
If anybody out there has any like questions, like real questions, don't get people started because about what happens, or if we missed a question, please let me know. So, all right, go ahead, Vex. What would you like to say?
No, I want you to finish.
Okay, I was gonna say. So, if we're done with the airplane, I think because we haven't seen the death part yet, we move on to the Penny and Winter part. I was taken aback because it was the opposite of what I was expecting. I was expecting Winter to be like, nah, bro, like that's my sister, but then it was the other way around. So, what do you guys think about that?
I'll be back in a second.
Mm-hmm.
I think that a competent story can be told by writers, and
okay.
In regard to Winter and Penny, I thought Winter and Penny was the strongest part of the entire chapter.
Really? Okay.
I really do like what they're doing with Penny and Winter's like conflicting emotions.
Yeah, I thought that that was the strongest part. I like their conversation made sense. I like how they went with the route of Winter was still kind of following orders, and even with knowing that Weiss is, who knows where Weiss was at the time, she's still like, no, I have to do this. This is my job. This is my orders. This is what I have to do. This is my destiny, kind of thing. And Penny was questioning it like, no, my understanding is this is wrong, and I don't like it. But she was still going along with it. Mm-hmm. I thought it was interesting. So she was still helping Penny. She didn't like, no, I'm not doing this. So she was going along with it.
No, they're kind of like in a strange inverse of the debate between Team RWBY and the Aesops, where you have someone who is very much siding with Ironwood, but at least they're being frequently outspoken. It's like, yeah, this is a tough decision, one that I maybe even don't personally agree with, but I'm looking at the bigger picture.
So both of you
Then you got-
are agreeing that the character that said what they said is the correct character? Because me,
Oh,
for
yeah.
some reason, I see it backwards. I see Penny being that way, and Winter being the other way.
I think their conflicting emotions work great off each other.
Yeah,
it was really
I thought for the most part the scenes worked well. Penny was one of those. I don't like Penny. Probably because they brought her back, so I hate it.
Okay.
Penny. But she didn't bother me. Her lines didn't bother me this chapter. Probably because I like the fact that she didn't just leave Winter by herself.
Okay.
The fact that she still stuck around is like,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah.
I'm accepting the situation
Yes.
of we got to do this, but I'm making a clear statement that I do not agree with this.
Yeah,
No.
I do not agree with this, but I'm gonna help you. But I do not agree with any of this. I don't understand it, but I'm gonna help you.
Yeah,
And
it's the other solution of the topic that Team RWBY and the Aesops are having. It's just different avenue, and it's making for a really good a debate about
A contrast.
humanity and ethics and what needs to be done, and it works great, especially because it's the robot girl with human emotions and the soldier with bottled emotions.
See, this is
Yeah.
great. This is why I love these freaking conversations, because I never even thought of that, and yeah, that's pretty fucking awesome.
and then Sinner showed up and ruined everything.
Yeah.
What
I'm back.
I don't know where that fight's gonna go.
Fatman?
I like that the fact that there seems to be enough open ends to where it could go, but it's I'm trying to grasp at something, and I don't know which one is the most likely option.
Fatman, the question was,
sorry.
what was your thought about the beginning of Penny and Winter's conversation? Remember how we were talking about how it's supposed to be backwards? Yeah. So what did you
Why
think about
it was supposed to be backwards? Why what Winter was supposed to side with Weiss and
Yeah.
and was supposed to side with Dyer? Because Ironwood is in control of Penny, right? That's the logic.
Okay. Yeah. That's
Well,
what I
don't
thought
think
too,
he's.
yeah.
I don't think he's flipped that switch yet. I think he has a remote control.
Penny has a soul.
Yeah, Penny's made it clear in the past that as much as she is the protector of mantle, she is an Atlas military operative. She doesn't feel like an Atlas military operative. She's someone who's grounded. She's got she tries to have, for lack of a better term, a human perspective of things, whereas Winter's got the military perspective of things, but she's still conflicted by her human emotions.
So they meet in the middle then?
Yeah, I mean, at least at the very most point, Winter is still she's clearly worried about Weiss, because she says Weiss, what did you do? She's definitely worried about her sister, but she's also thinking okay, if I do this, if I get the power, then maybe I might be able to protect my sister and do my mission. So she still feels like the best positive outcome is to carry on.
And you think that is
despite
the
her,
plan?
despite her
That
more
Winter
woes.
should get the power? Is that what you think the plan is?
That she may, but again, there's so many open ends. I don't know which one is going to be the road taken.
If Winter gets the power, I think Winter's gonna die. So I don't want Winter to get the power.
Yeah, me neither.
I didn't like how I'm a fan of Winter. I didn't like how they had her react to Cinder showing up. Just to help this helpless woman and ran away. Just how to close the door. She closed the door what is that gonna do?
Fatman has some
Close
good
the
By running away, by just dipping when Cinder blasts her with fire.
She just
It's
ran away.
This is the Winter Maiden.
I know, right?
Well, to be
have you seen,
fair,
The first Captain America.
It was so annoying.
Yeah, have you seen have you seen the first Captain America movie?
Yeah.
not for a while.
The scene when the general throws the grenade.
Oh
and,
yeah, no, I remember
Steve
that.
Rogers jumps on it, and everybody else runs. It's like, what? Of all, with all of the they gave Jean that Captain America from Avengers moment, but it's they're gonna give Winter this whoa, let's dodge, run
Okay.
away.
I mean, it was dark and she couldn't see, and then all of a sudden this fire thing was at her face.
To be fair, she she's probably more than aware that's like, okay, I can't take on Cinder when she's got her maiden powers, and she's probably thinking like, I'm the only one that can get the maiden powers. So if I'm down, then I'm failing either way. So I'm getting out of dodge. I'm gonna try and protect the maiden, and obviously we are left on the cliffhanger.
So I'm gonna hide behind this middle door because there's no way she'll be able to bust through this.
Well, she panicked. Like she obviously knew that Cinder was coming. So like she probably didn't have enough time to, in her mind, set up the transfer
I
pod.
honestly
Especially
thought she was
if she
done.
goes into the pod, if she goes in the pod, they're defenseless anyway. So desperation defending.
This is my problem with the writing. You don't have to have a character like on one hand, the character looks all badass and makes a decision in the face of God knows what. On the other hand, you got Winter running away like hiding behind the door. Have her use her semblance, make a freaking ice wall, do something. Don't have her just scurrying away like a coward in that situation.
Hindsight is 2020.
Get her
Because I thought she was done.
Beowulf.
I thought she was caught off guard, and when that face she made, I thought she was gonna be fried.
Oh, goodness gracious.
But,
You just show Weiss being all OP worse. You got the next scene, freaking Winter looking all cowardly running away.
Yeah, but Weiss is not going
Like
up against a
reactive.
Winter Maiden.
Yeah, more
Like,
like
She's going up against one of the best Atlas huntsmen huntresses. That's what she's going up.
I thought you said they were crap. Hey, okay. So,
We're not saying- we're
all
not
right.
saying
So
they're
then Winter is doing the sportsman thing that we say, Fatman, like Sombra,
Hey.
and she's being all Cinder like, and I just wanted her to shut up, like that voice acting. Plus what she's saying. Why can't she just shut up? Anyway, and she's like, "Oh, what do you think?"
Yeah,
and gives
I
her
don't-
time
I-
to think. Like what?
Yeah, I know. There won't be any of you left. And then she does her whole like magical
Yeah,
pulls out her swords, and Cinder's just standing there like,
that's pretty.
Yeah, I'm lacking the context.
They
Dan?
skip away. And Winter's like,
Cinder's going
"What
like,
happened?"
I'm lacking the context of why that line feels so important. Because she obviously
Which
wasn't
line?
there for. Yeah. And I'm just making a joke. It's like, obviously, like Penny saying like that gives me personal feelings. That's a repeated statement in the episode, so obviously it feels important when she says that,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it shows that she's winning the fight. But in Cinder's mind, she's not heard the previous mentions of
Right.
it, so she's just going like,
So she's
I don't
waiting.
get why
Gotcha.
this feels so important.
I got
It's like,
now.
is that supposed to be like your new quote now? Is that? Did you trade off salutations for that? It's not quite as snappy. I don't think that's gonna work on a t-shirt.
And I hated when Penny's like, "You're responsible for what happened to me." Oh my god, I just like.
Why that? Why is that?
Since when did she give a shit
Because-
about what happened to her?
Well,
Because
she's
she
not.
was standing on the same fucking tiles that she died on,
Thank
and
you,
she's like,
thank
"I
you.
don't care about nothing." And then Cinder shows up, who she has literally no reason to know about because she died she died before Cinder started talking. Unless
Well,
she was conscious that whole time. And
Well, she
just
learned
had no
afterwards. She can learn
In
afterwards.
her mind, she never even thought of the possibility that Cinder was going to be here because she wasn't in the office when Cinder's presence was known to the heroes. So in her mind, like I'm not even thinking about that. And obviously, we weren't around for when she was first rebuilt, so we don't know like her first thoughts post the death. So
At this point in the story, I'm supposed to believe that
going back to
Penny
this scene, I don't want Winter to get the powers and die. Especially because I don't want Weiss's only remaining living relatives to be Jacques, Whitley, and Willow. I want that to be at least a positive one, though it does kind of fall in line with the whole thing of like, I'm not always going to be there for you.
Well, Raven didn't die, so we don't have a long history of maidens dying.
Well, not in terms of like major characters dying, maiden powers, yeah. But yeah, I don't know where this scene's going to go. I'm excited but nervous, but yeah. I'm
Vex,
looking
you were
forward
saying
to it.
something?
At this stage of the game, I'm supposed to chapter 12. I'm supposed to believe that Penny's emotionally invested in what happened to her at this point.
Not necessarily. See, I took that
they've ignored
differently.
it. They've ignored it the entire time. So now I'm supposed to be, oh, Cinder's here. Oh, you're the one who did this. You're the reason this happened to me. Oh,
No, I mean, I
I'm
see what
angry
you're
now.
saying because those are literally the words. But what I took from that is what happened to me, meaning what happened to me, and then it snowballed to whatever the heck happened to Beacon. That's what I took it as. I see what you mean because those are literal words, but
And yeah, And yeah, she's not addressed this in the past, but then like again, she never even thought for a second that she would come across the person most responsible to her death. So obviously she's surprised in the situation,
Oh.
and then that leads into why she
Another thing
says,
too,
"I've got personal feelings,"
Dan,
because
like
now she has a personal investment.
she said, "You're the one." Blah blah blah. After Winter said Cinder, so it's like, oh, oh, that's Cinder. That's nice to meet you. Can I have your autograph? I don't know.
Nah. So yeah,
Oh, God.
it's not been explored in the past. The whole like Penny's feelings on what happened, but it does make sense that why she would address the person who's most responsible, and then go into the scene where she's ready to kick her ass.
So what do you think about that line? I have personal feelings, and then her swords.
Again, I rather have salutations.
Yeah. Vexed.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Do you like her personal feelings?
No, I don't like anything about Penny.
I feel so vindicated.
There's a whole like comic strip about that. It's so fun. Thank you, Wolf.
Just before we go on, I wish I could stay around for talking about the Clover stuff, but it's past 6 o'clock. I'm really tired.
All right, guys. To be continued tomorrow when Dan's available. Don't leave.
What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of, Dashie?
Not you. No. I just don't want him to go. He was awesome.
okay.
Don't use me to be your shield. I'm not your
No,
lightning.
it's not that. You can be my meat something, not my meat shield. That's fine. But
Hey, no,
hey,
we'll talk about that later.
we sure will. So, no, it
But
was
yeah,
like this is the
I'm-
first time you've been on. This is amazing. You're on it.
Hey,
I'm laying
Dan,
back.
you're
I'm
awesome.
being lazy. So no, I'm
Yeah.
not being lazy. I'm
I
trying.
mean, I obviously we had a very I'm surprised how heated and like emotional. But it's been good fun. And I like having these back and forths because that's why I started doing reviews in the first place. I like sharing opinions. I like having different ones.
It's
Just
awesome.
just not enough to be staying up past 6 in the morning when I've
I
already had a
hear ya.
nightmare day.
I hear you, Dan. Thank you very, very much. And you come back
Have a
soon.
good-
You know,
Yeah.
anytime. Let me
If-
know. And...
if I could be cheeky, if you want my opinions on the Clover situation and everything, wait for my review tomorrow.
Beautiful. Yes, go watch. Go subscribe
you
to
got it.
all these boys.
But for now, yeah.
Please.
But for now, my bed is to the right of me. It's looking mighty comfy right now. So see you guys.
And
I'm out.
I'll be in there shortly,
Sleep
baby.
well.
I'll leave room.
He said,
Alright, peace.
bye, bye, Dan. That was so cute. Oh my god. All right, so let's see. This is the video. So they cut to the fights now. The fights choreographed.
Well, before we get there, how do you... The fucking Nora knew Neo's name.
Yeah, I mean, it's another thing that they could have learned, just like Tyrion Kalos and stuff. It's just reports.
But Tyrion's name was, like, well documented. Who even knows who or what Neo is?
Let's see.
She
We'll
was
have to
always
get
in
into this
disguise.
Chat if you guys
Like-
can get this quick
Yeah.
information
You
quick.
want
That'd be awesome.
You want to just throw this one to chat?
When was
No,
when
not
was Neo's
throwing.
name-
I'm just trying to get people involved. God.
Oh,
Look,
I'm
I'll
ready
handle
now.
my channel my way, okay? Look, you might have helped me.
When did they learn Neo's name in volume 2, right? When she yelled out Neo and he came in and escaped. I think that's when they heard her name the first time.
That's why Jean said we haven't heard good things or something like that. Okay. Yeah. Oh shit.
Neo, if you will. Yes, she said that in volume 2. But Nora doesn't know who Neo. Well, they might have told her. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean they had plenty of story time in that house. Believe me.
Off-screen stuff. Yeah.
All right. So the maidens. Just real quick, do you guys have any predictions for that maiden fight? What's gonna fucking happen besides Winter getting killed? Or is that your thing?
I don't want Winter to. If Winter becomes a maiden, she's gonna die. So I think this is where the bad guys get a win. Cinder will end up getting more of the power, which will be nothing. There's no difference between the Winter maiden power and the Fall maiden power. She'll just be super powered. I think she'll get the power ultimately.
Cinder reminds
Because
me of
she-
that one lady from Austin Powers. Why won't you die? Fucking.
Because yeah, I know, right? She failed in volume 5, so they're not gonna let her fail at getting it again, getting a maiden power again. So she'll get it this time.
Yeah, she can't be completely useless.
Yeah.
I mean, she can be, but...
Yeah, she's useless now. She's completely useless now, but they'll have her get the power.
Yeah.
If they don't, then why? Then why is? Go ahead.
No, I was going.
No, yeah, if she doesn't get it now, then what's the like? Cinder, go away! Like,
Right?
like get the power. Like they have to have her get the power this time. Because if not, then why is she's coming in? She's doing shit and then not and failing. Coming in, doing shit, failing. Coming in, doing shit, failing. Like do something. Like get a win. Like
But I
get
mean,
the power.
she did get
Yeah,
a win.
please.
She got the power. She got the Spring Maiden, though.
Sure, but then she got fucked up by Ruby at the end and lost her damn arm. Like just have a win-win. Like go out smiling, maybe. I don't know. Like
And a beer. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay, so moving on
she'll,
here.
she'll get the power. Just hope Winter doesn't die.
Yeah, I can't even say I
Well,
didn't even see that happening.
Though they've been setting up her death for like since like Volume 4.
With the whole I won't always be there for you or whatever.
Yeah, and now they have White's looking all OP against the freaking Marrows, and now like I don't need my sister, you know. Sucks.
All right. So going back into it. Okay. So Tyrion breaks his thumbs. Hilarious. Good times. So let's put the baby away. Decisions. They made the decision. We talked about that earlier. I had mentioned in the reaction why didn't Tyrion, when he pushed Crow over to Clover, why didn't he just like turn his tail a little bit, to just poke him with the venom, and then he can go to Clover. And then Fatman said, "Fuck, what was it?"
Tyrion is more about creating chaos than
creating chaos instead, and that made sense. That was pretty.
Before I give my opinion on this, I don't know where you guys. It seems like you guys already know where you guys stand on this. So, what are your thoughts on the whole? We're teaming up to fight Clover, for both of you guys.
I thought it was badass. Not necessarily smart, but badass nonetheless.
Okay, and you, Dashi?
I thought that at that moment, he really was trying to not do that, and he was very hesitant in teaming up with him, to a point where he didn't even notice he was helping him with pushing him with the tail and stuff. Like he was like, because he was still on guard. How it happened in the moment, we're all like, what? And of course, hindsight is 2020. Yeah, there could have been more like, Clover, stop, fucking check this out. This is what's up, and hopefully something won't happen. But obviously that's not what happened. So, but I think for what we got, the fight itself beautiful. The choreography, and the way they were fought beautiful. The way that Crow reacted to his death, like, why didn't he think he was gonna die? Like, Tyrion was going to kill. Like, why was he so shocked? I get that. But I think he was more angry that he wasn't able to protect at that time when it was happening. And Fatman's like, 10 more steps, grab your thing. Okay, I see that.
They did the glamour shot on that sword. Why'd they do that? This is gonna go horribly.
Okay.
And the shot itself was beautiful. The death, I wasn't sad about the death. I was more of a, well, that certainly happened, and what a damn shame, because like this should not have been like this. It was awesome, and it was like not expected for Crow to do this, but at that time, like, Clover was hellbent. He was so lawful good that nothing could have taken him away from that, and he got mortalized.
Okay.
You wanna rip it a new one?
Rip it apart.
This fight, I was laughing my ass off the whole entire time.
Do you have a
This was
reaction?
happening. I didn't react. No, I didn't record myself.
Boo.
I was just laughing my ass off, and for all the wrong reasons. The only part of this that I accept is Tyrion. That's only because I think of it in the sense of, he's like, these guys are so stupid. I gotta watch these guys fight. They're so dumb. That's how I make it work in my head. Like, damn, these guys are
That's what he
morons.
was doing. Yeah.
I have to watch this shit.
Dinner in a show or whatever he said.
Yeah, what a bunch of idiots. That's how I have making sense from Tyrion's point. That's the only part of this that I like. But I have to frame it in that way. Like, he's like, these guys are stupid. Yeah. There is no way in hell Crow at any point should think to himself, yeah, you know what? Clover's my buddy. He wants to arrest me. I'll fight with the guy who wants to murder me. The guy who tried to the guy who poisoned me, the guy who wanted to take my niece, the guy who's working with Salem, the ultimate bad guy here. This guy wants to arrest me. This guy wants to kill me. I'll go with him. Because ultimately, the reason they gave was we have to settle the score, which is absolutely comical because this last damn chapter they fought, she could have told them then, stay out of it. I'm gonna fight him right now. I have a score to settle. They fight now. But no, they knew that they knew that last chapter, but this chapter, oh yeah, we gotta settle this now. It's stupid. Then you have Clover is being a moron, he's trying to fight his buddy. Crow's trying to fight his buddy. Meanwhile, Tyrion's sitting there laughing the whole time, talking about how stupid the guys are. The whole thing was stupid. Then you have the wide shot of Clover and Crow. Crow, you can't see that somebody come up behind him. They shot in a way that nothing's behind him but sky and dirt. So you can't. So there's no way for Tyrion to hide. So what happened was, Crow saw Tyrion run up behind him with the sword and said nothing, and then let him stab him in the chest. Like, oh no! Look at my friend's dead. I can't believe the murderer killed my friend. I'm gonna kill you. It was just like it was awful. Like everything about it was bad. Only thing that worked was Tyrion. I had to frame it in the sense that he thought they were stupid. And like, oh my god, I can't believe how stupid these guys are. Let's see how far this goes. That's how I think of it with Tyrion. Like that's how I make it work.
Yeah, that's how I think of it too. And I think Crow actually legitimately believed that Tyrion would keep that deal they made, that once they beat, like I honestly think that's the case. I honestly think Crow's a fucking idiot who believed Tyrion when he's like, yeah, let's put the kid to bed and then we'll have do this. We'll have our fight. I actually think he just took Tyrion at his word like a fucking idiot. Like one of the things I hate about Volume 6 and subsequently this volume is like they did this whole like, oh, Crow's an alcoholic, Crow's drunk, Crow's alcoholism is bad, when they never lost anything because of it. Like the worst thing that happened because of Crow's drinking was that Ruby had to drag him out of the Brunswick farm.
Yeah.
Like there was no like fight they lost because of it. Even like the end fight when Crow's like, oh, I'm a drunk motherfucker and blah blah blah. It's like, well, nothing bad happened as a result of any of that. And now here we have Crow where like this is what he should like, this is the thing, like this is like the bad thing, the loss moment where he should have been drinking and making poor decisions because he was fucking sloshed. And then he gets Clover killed, and then he's like, oh, I have to stop drinking because I got Clover. Like, instead, there was literally nothing, and then I have to stop drinking for no reason, and then, oh, now bad things are happening to me. If they're gonna do like a relapse moment where he's like, oh, I gotta get drunk again, it'll be like, well, drinking was only a positive influence in your life, as according to the exposition presented in the show.
Yeah,
like it's really, I don't know how they fucked that one up, unless that was just a random idea by writers that don't make sense.
Yeah, they tried to tie it into his depression after he found out about the truth about Osmond, and like that's when it kind of made it a whole thing. Like,
yeah.
But then again, wasn't it also in Volume 5 when he was looking for his friends and he found out that they got killed? They got sent on those missions, and he went to drink from the flask. Like, no, I'm not gonna drink this time. Was that when they started it? I don't know when they started the whole. I don't know when it started.
Okay.
Getting drunk?
I have a response to that. I
Go
even was writing it down so I don't forget this time, just in case.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right. The part where you're like, he didn't lose anything, nothing bad happened, right? All right. One of your thumbnails was literally Crow's face going, what the fuck have I done? I sit here at the bar, lonely, drinking, and these girls had to fight for their lives for this, and almost lost everyone. Yeah, you know, Silver Eyes, cool, Maria, all right, awesome, but that should not have been what saved them. In his mind, it should have been him. He was responsible. He was feeling that pain, and that's the point where he stopped drinking, and when he went to go drink, that was after that volume. He was like, it was just like almost muscle memory to drink like that. I've seen people that do that actually, but almost nothing bad happened. Okay, you're right, nothing bad did happen, but one really big bad thing could have happened, which is they could have died in that farm, and that's that face they made, which you made your thumbnail. Like, what was I thinking?
Yeah,
So
That's fair.
that's the scene. Yeah.
right. So that's
talking.
the. I know it didn't happen. Nothing bad happened, but that's good. But that's what woke him up. It could have been. That's just my answer to that, and I wrote that shit down. Yeah. All right.
Okay. Can we talk about how freaking Tyrion was wrapped up on the ground
Wrapped
by
up,
Clover, and then Ruby and Crow ran over and punched the shit out of Clover?
wrapped up on the. Who was? Wait. Tyrion was on the ground.
Clover wrapped Tyrion up with his freaking line, his fishing line. Clover did, right?
Yeah.
And then right when he did that, Crow ran over and socked the shit out of Clover.
Yeah.
I can't be the only person that laughed out loud during that at that moment. Like,
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure I
I
laughed
just
out
went,
loud
"Oof."
there too.
And then somebody said,
mean,
"Punch OP."
it speaks to the pity of the moment. The murderer gets wrapped up by your friend, and you ran and socked the shit out of your friend, so the murderer can get up and eventually kill your.
Could he have already been in motion to punch him before the rap?
Actually, let me look at the scene.
I'm looking at it right now, actually.
It was pretty hilarious.
What was hilarious to me, and I normally don't, I don't mind Blake. I don't hate her. Like, I don't mind Blake, but when she got like hammered in the fucking stomach, I was like, oh my god, that like, yeah. And I know Fatman was enjoying that delicious ouch. I'm looking at it now.
You see.
So when Tyrion gets tied up, yeah, there he goes. Tyrion's tied up, and then Crow is, yeah, and then Crow is a damn idiot.
I know, right? It's a good, he's on the ground. He realized he's on the ground. Like, oh my god, I can't have. Then he runs over and punches him.
At that point, I don't know. Crow, I mean, look, Crow's
see.
dumb.
It's stupid. It's all around stupid. He's like, it's Ironwood's fault. This is on James. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is your fault. No, it's Robin's fault for crashing the damn plane. Basically, it's her fault for crashing the plane. Then
I
you
never
freaking
noticed the horseshoes either, by the way.
beat the shit out of your friend. It's all stupid. He the one broke his aura. Like,
Maybe
somehow Tyrion.
you're also watching this like 2020, like again and again. Like, this is, I mean, I'm not saying to live this because I understand this is just a show, but in the moment, you don't know what's gonna happen, and if you drop your weapon and you just gotta stop things, you don't. I can't keep track of everything. But yeah, looking at it slowly and stuff, yeah, that's hilarious now. But
Bottom line, one of them a murderer who tried to kill you and tried to take back your niece. Other one's your friend.
Yeah.
That's it. Point blank. It's over. That's it.
not
Yeah.
to me, but okay.
I mean, at that point, like my only is to just I have to believe that Crow legitimately thought Tyrion was going to keep his word and fight him one-on-one after they beat up Clover. That's the only way that I think anyone can justify anything that happened after the plane crashed.
Okay, I agree.
Crow had to believe it for
whatever
fun.
reason. Yeah,
for whatever
because he's an
reason.
idiot. Yeah, he's an idiot.
Yeah, he's like, yeah.
He blocks too many brain cells along with Yang's arm. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So what about the whole line about this is James' fault? I'll make James pay for this. Like, what did he say? Like, what's he talking about?
I mean, James is the one who pissed off Robin, and then she crashed the plane. It all comes back to
Okay, fine, fair enough. And Team Ruby is the one who freaking lied to freaking
yeah.
Ironwood.
So it's technically all Blake's fault.
Exactly. It's all Blake's fault.
Fucking Batman.
Actually, about it. That's the Yang's one who like maybe we shouldn't. That's the Yang's plan. It's like maybe we shouldn't.
You're gonna make that the abridged. It's all Blake's fault.
Yeah.
Yang Blake got the idea from Yang, and Yang proposed that they freaking tell Robin.
Yank proposed. Oh, Vex, that's awesome. Thanks.
All right.
Confirmed.
Volume 12.
On Dashy's channel, it got confirmed.
Yes. You heard it here, folks. All right.
Oh,
So
oh, yeah,
speaking
no,
of that, let's go
whatever.
into the main thing. Unless you got something to say.
There was a dumb line that we missed by Robin back in earlier in the chapter. You know how when you have a situation where two people are reconciling in the middle of in the middle of a conflict. Someone says, "Hey, you guys can cut it out once you deal with this. Like, you can hug it out later. Let's deal with this first, right?"
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, that
So
was
Crow
that's
said.
Robin says, "You guys can hug it out once we've taken him down." So she wants to beat Clover's ass, and then Clover can go hug him. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
She likes the ship. What? I don't know.
yeah. That's the whole shipping. I don't know how do you feel about
Which is exactly what my question's gonna be now.
Yeah.
This is the
You
this
can
is the sensitive
baiting
part, you
and
guys.
bury your gaze.
There we
You
go.
can
Yeah.
hug it out once we've
Let
taken
me-
him down.
Let me. Okay. Apparently, there was a whole queer baiting thing, and I don't know. People thought it was confirmed that they were boyfriends. And I never saw that. But they really took it hard, and it's a bury their gaze thing. What do you guys think about that? Oh shit! His shoulders are wishbones, dude. Did you notice that? Clover's shoulders? They're fucking wishbones.
I didn't notice. I did not.
Oh,
That's insane.
that's hilarious.
Yeah, I'll actually take a shot. But
Yeah,
so
take
what
a
do you-
screen cap of it.
Yeah, I'm doing
Yeah,
that
put
right
in
now.
put in the what's called.
Yeah.
I think you could argue this is shit baiting, like they always do. The only problem is these are two gay dudes potentially.
So they are
So
gay?
if-
I mean, who said that?
No, they're not gay. I'm saying that's what they're thinking. That's the thought
I see.
process. I mean,
I watched a Collection and Hunter's video on this that came out today, but the animators for the scenes like specifically tweeted out saying, I worked really hard to make this scene as gay as possible.
yeah, they do all that
Oh,
bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah,
bait.
so they did some. It was the
So bad.
animators
Like-
independently of like what was in the show, gay baiting the
That is
fans.
not.
They shit bait like crazy left and right, and then they wonder why the fandom gets all
Yeah.
I don't.
pissed about it.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I've like always thought Crow was gay or bi. I've made those jokes in my Volume 3 review.
So all those stories about him and all those mini skirts and stuff, and they were just covered. They were just what do they call the bears?
Beard.
A beard, yeah, bear.
Beard.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think Crow is a little more of a twink. For the
that
RWBY
right?
universe, he's a little twinkie. Clover
my
is a little twunky.
Holy crap! All right.
They're perfect for each other.
I mean, in the
No.
beginning when we were reacting and stuff, yeah, I was memeing it up, like I say, oh, Crow needs to be happy and stuff, and then it looked pretty good, it was leaning towards it. There was never like confirmed or anything.
No, it
And-
was never confirmed.
Right,
I
but
think-
people were treating it that way, and it's just like how they treat like the whole Bumble. Oh my God, Vexed, I know you're itching. No, they're treating it that way, but why go as far as like death threats? I just don't understand that.
I want to go Vex. I got.
Honestly, if you didn't know that Clover and Crow were going to be fighting, there's probably something wrong with you. It's obvious.
We
It's
did
obvious.
know
They're,
that.
they're
Okay.
setting up a
I don't know
foil.
about
The
something
foil.
wrong
This is
with
his
you, but
foil.
yeah.
They're gonna fight. Same thing with Harriet and RWBY. It's obvious they're gonna fight. They're setting up setting up Harriet to be RWBY foil. They'll fight eventually. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
They're setting up Clover to be. That's why a lot of people thought Clover was gonna be a traitor, quote unquote. They're setting him up. Oh, everything's nice. Oh, this might be a friend, and then they fight. It's obvious. So the thought process that they're gonna be gay all of a sudden and go on a relationship and have a side quest together, like that was never gonna happen. So people just they get these little things like winks. A character will wink at another character. Like, oh, look at that. That's a show telling us they're going to be dating. Or like they'll smile. They'll say, oh my God, look at that. Shipping is the people.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get it. Like the RWBY goes overboard. That's the problem. The problem is RWBY. If they didn't do the shit where they
The same animator that confirmed that Adam died in the last episode 12 is the one that tweeted out that we made it gay on purpose tweet.
yeah. Like they have to
So
stop doing that.
people thought that was confirmation because it came from a different source that confirmed a different thing, or it came from the same source that confirmed a different thing.
Now, okay, this is just me fucking being a meme and stuff, okay? Like, the other day, my friend Sam made that drawing of me and Raymond. Confirmed! Confirmed, guys! It's a ship, me and Raymond, yo!
And me and Ninja were watching.
And me and Ninja watching, and I didn't care. I was passed the fuck out. And I was a man! And Raymond was a hot chick. If you don't know what we're talking about, check out the Twitter. It's amazing. Why not? I'll put it in there. Thank you, Sam.
Is she working on the thing that I said?
Maybe you still have to give me a sample.
No, the widescreen version where Tom is in the corner sipping
Oh,
tea.
I did mention it to her though. I did mention it to her. We chuckled a bit. Vex, I don't know if you even know what we're talking about, but yeah, keep talking while I search for it. It's hilarious. Yeah, I just don't understand the death threats. That's just bullshit to me. It's,
Oh yeah, no,
That's stupid. That's stupid. That's never acceptable.
Fandom's gonna dumb, you know.
Jeez.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of them are.
it's
Yeah.
unfortunate. I'd hope that Kruger would stop freaking doing this
Yeah.
thing what they do, what they freaking ship tease over and over and over.
Yeah. But it's like, you know, they get it from the anti-gay people whenever they introduce gay characters, or, you know, whenever they tease gay characters. And then they get it from the pro-gay people whenever they kill off their fake ship. It's like, you'd think Ruby would learn not to.
Yeah. Vex, that's what I'm talking about right there. That picture.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's something I saw.
It's confirmed. It's fucking canon. Yep. I have a dick.
Shipping. Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Shipping sells. So that's why Rooster Teeth's freaking account will always. They're notorious for every chance they get. They'll try to ship
So,
teas.
question for you then: at what point can the people that work there be fans and be rooting for their ships? Like, at what point is that not allowed then?
I don't think so.
No, it's not allowed. Not on the online forum where everyone can see it. They can do it among themselves, sure. But once you're a part of Ruby, you can't do that because that's what
Like,
Barb and Aaron are notorious for that. They do that all day, every day. They have to stop doing that.
Like, they're just, you can be fans of your own work.
They can't speak of. Go ahead.
You can, but not publicly.
Yes.
I mean, you can't. Okay, you can be fans of your own work, but you can't be part of your own fandom.
Correct.
Can be fans of what?
Yeah, being a fan and being part of a fandom are very different because fandoms they put a lot into speculation and fan-driven content. Like that's basically the separation between like what fans are and what a fandom is.
Now again,
Like
going back to me being a meme and just, you know, making it about us. I'm a huge fan of all of you, and I'm in it. So, what's up?
Well, I
Just
mean,
saying, I'm just kidding.
no, okay. The perfect example with your Raymond drawing, right?
Okay,
with
okay.
Sam's, like you tweeting that out
Yeah.
is like is basically the same as the artists and animators on RWBY, you know, liking the Nora is trans tweet, or you know, saying, "Oh, we made this scene gay." You know, I don't know if anybody got the wrong idea from that or the right idea. Wink.
Wink. Say wink.
But like, you know, that gives a different impression if someone else posted.
So let's
you know,
say
like,
somebody is rooting for the Raymond Dashy ship, okay? Am I a dick for liking that drawing?
No, you're not a dick, but you
not
have to realize
dick,
what you're doing. You're giving gas to something that may reach a certain level that could be termed quote unquote toxic. Ultimately,
all right,
like,
all
she's go ahead.
Just imagine like, okay, Sam draws post it, and then you like it and retweet it, and then imagine that all of the Raymond Fatman shippers, and now, oh look, the actual person involved liked it, so now you guys are losing the fandom war.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
That's
But
the same
not
thing that
their
happened.
fault,
Like,
though. Those are the
we're
fans.
We're
not
right.
them.
We're right. You're wrong. Yeah, we're right.
Yeah,
See,
like
they agree with us.
There was on the Volume 3 soundtrack, there was a Black Sun, a Sun and Blake ship, a song,
Yeah.
and then and everybody's like, "See, it's canon." And
But
in
that's
Volume
everybody, though.
4,
That's not the writers. That's not, like, that's the way people take it. Like, Aw.
Yeah, but when the crew gets involved, people think it's more legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
You're not when
sounds
you're
like a them
when you're in it.
problem.
No.
Not a-
Dash.
It's in everybody involved, or it's in everybody involved. If the
Okay.
creators are part of the fandom, they have a more
My question.
controlling
Okay.
voice.
Did Rooster Teeth tell these employees not to do it? Like, if you fucking tell me, dude, don't fucking tweet that out because I don't want. Obviously, we're in no way like the same as Rooster Teeth. I'm just obviously just making an example here. If you say please don't do that, and then I do it, yeah, I'm a fucking dick. But like, why can't I like that ship even though it's not true? I don't know. I just.
This is the problem. This is the problem. See, you have a situation. For example, let's look at Barb and Aaron. All right.
Yeah.
When they say things like, "Oh, I really want my character to be with that character. That's what I want, and I'm pushing for it." Oh, but I'm saying that as a fan of the show. That's bullshit.
Why? Why
Because
can't she be a
because
fan?
you can be a fan of your show, but you can't say I want something to happen and pretend like people who are listening are not going to absorb it in a different way. You are a voice actor for the show. You're talking to the writers. You are in the writing room a lot of times talking to these people. You understand what's going on. You know what's going to happen in the show. If you're throwing out this is what I want for my character, and I think it'd be cool for this to happen in my character. Or I think Aaron said, "Oh, that makes sense. This ship makes sense to me." Once you're doing that, you're basically putting you're throwing gas on see, they agree, the artists they agree, the voice actors they agree, so this is what's going to happen.
So in you're saying it in context of like them knowing that that's going to happen. What if they didn't know and they just wanted to say I like the ship and I happen to be the voice of one of them?
But they should be savvy enough at this point to know how this fandom works. They
All
know
right,
what
well,
they
yeah,
say.
now of course, yeah.
They know what they say has weight. If they say a comment, it's going to blow up. And Miles and Carrie know that. And the voice actors know that. They play up to it. They loved it. They tease it. They love it because shipping sells. Every goddamn panel, Barb says, "Will they kiss?" Or Blake drops Bumblebee reference because she knows it's going to get a big applause from the crowd.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing. So instead of throwing gas on it and making it worse by teasing this ship and teasing that ship and making people get all butthurt about their ships, dial it back and let the show take care of itself.
Can they say, in my opinion alone, and has nothing to do with Rooster Teeth or nothing, whatever, I really like this ship? Or is that just, no, you're being a dick?
I mean, if they put all of those like disclaimers ahead of it, at that point they should just make an anonymous like alt account.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
If you look at the average amount of likes and the average amount of likes that the official RWBY Twitter handle gets on non-shipping posts, it's like almost a tenth of what the shipping posts get. Like, they tease a ship, they get like 4,000, 5,000 likes. They don't tease a ship, they get like 300, 400 likes.
Shipping sells.
They know how much shipping works for this fan.
Yes,
I mean, it's
yes.
sex sells. Okay.
They're actively ship baiting the show, and it's obvious.
I just think it's an individual, not the actual poor actors. That
And
can't
they're
like
creating
the show.
these shipping wars. They don't care because the more people talk about it, the better for them. I made a whole video of this about the volume,
we're talking
volume
about
3,
it now,
chapter
so
12.
Yeah. This was my the end of Abridged Volume 5. The whole captain spiel. Like I did this in a video too.
Yeah.
I mean, they know what they're doing. It's tactical. It's calculated. This whole shipping shit.
All right.
I agree.
So, do you ship Raymond Dashy there, Vexed? Yay. I do.
Sure.
Somebody put the gas on there. Okay. All right, so back to RWBY because hello. Hi, RWBY fans. Thanks for sticking with us this long. Good Lord, you guys are fucking awesome.
93 people.
Amazing.
That's a solid amount of
amazing.
people. That's not bad.
Definitely
actually.
a good time. So let's start wrapping this up here.
It is a weekday.
Yeah, oh my god, yeah, that too. So yeah, you saw the wishbones on his shoulders. Okay, so then he gets stabsies. And then the sun rises and they have that somber moment until the no. I don't want to say anything about what's going to happen because I have a feeling it's going to be a huge twist for everyone. I can't wait. But at the same time, I'm scared. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see if we can get like people in there. Are you really planning on doing that, Fatman? Getting a lot of people? Or
Doing
not?
what?
Like,
Well, I
we're all
mean,
here
we
again?
got. I mean, we'll ask Murder if he wants to show up. I mean, we'll ask. I don't know, Vex. Do you want to be in our reaction?
Sure.
Cool.
It's Saturday at 2:30 Eastern. 2:30 p.m.
We try to anyway.
We try.
Yeah.
Okay,
we'll
just
see.
tell me how the whole thing works, and I should be able to do it. It's Saturday too.
Yeah.
And
You don't
Dan,
have to
if
do
you're-
face cam if you don't want to, but
Just
you know,
turn on
record.
turn on Audacity, right, and record.
Yeah, just turn on Audacity.
But that's for later.
Yeah.
You guys, I think we're wrapped up, right? Is there anything else that we have to say about the show?
Does Chad have any questions? Anything that we missed in these last 2 episodes?
And if you guys can think of anything else that like you can help me out with any suggestions or like problems, how about the audio? How about the chaos up in here? I'll take any suggestions. You guys are amazing. Thank you for sticking around. Oh, the Neo moment, of course, Austin. Oh my God.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that
That
up. Thank
Neo
you.
moment.
That bullshit. My goodness gracious.
Yeah, I kind of mentioned that, but mostly in just like, why do they know her?
I was more annoyed about the fact that Oscar landed a damn punch.
Yeah, from across the hallway. Yeah,
What
like from down the hall. He's like, I'm coming. And again, Austin
Neo
Powers. When they're like,
Neo doesn't get hit.
no. And the truck is like moving slowly.
That's the whole problem. That's the whole problem with this chapter. Nonsense after nonsense. Neo doesn't get hit at all, but somehow Oscar charging far away lands a clean cut punch right in the face.
Yeah, like and it's like she could have just easily in the time just attacked Nora, who was like 2 inches in front of her.
Yeah.
And instead she just kind of stood there and let Oscar like just whack her one. Oh man,
That was definitely, that took me out too.
Yeah.
That was like,
Yeah.
whoa, like Neo is way faster than that shit.
Not to mention, Neo can disguise herself as anyone, and she can disguise anything as anything, like she did with the freaking ship.
Yeah.
All she had to do was make herself like a student, turn the damn relic into a book, and walk right out.
Yeah.
But no, she had to be Oscar for whatever fucking reason because the writers decided
Oh, she
that's
did
what they're
have
gonna
the
do.
relic at that time. You're right.
Yeah, she did.
You're right.
Yeah,
That was dumb. Yeah.
Yes, it was.
yeah. That whole moment was just like, why are you doing this to me, guys?
Yeah. That was painful.
Yeah.
Show.
So this episode, episode 11 had 2 fights, and then episode 12 had 2 fights, and now episode 13 is going to have another 2 fights with Juniper versus Neo and Winter and Penny versus Cinder,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
and then Crow is going to try to. Crow is going to go to Atlas anyway just to beat up Ironwood.
Yeah. You know what Crow should have did after they arrested him? She should have let him carry him to the damn place, turn into a bird, then and go talk to fucking Ironwood. But smart things can't happen in the show. I forgot.
It never was mentioned that Crow can carry stuff with him, was it? Was there? Besides his sword, of course, and his clothes.
I mean, you don't. What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Like when he's a bird, he can carry people.
No, he doesn't have to carry anyone. He just turn into a bird and go find Ironwood.
Oh, I thought you said to take her with you. Take what's her face with you. Your favorite.
Yeah,
character.
I don't know, because he definitely keeps his sword when
And he's
turns
never
into a-
naked. So.
Yeah. So he keeps his clothes and his sword. I don't know. Maybe if he gives like Robin a piggyback ride and then like turns into a bird, she'll like turn into like
A feather.
super small
Yeah.
Robin and be on his shoulders while he's flying.
This
And Vex hopes that there's a student going, and then Birdie no hits both Robin and Crow. Yay.
Yeah, this chapter, man.
All right, you guys. Once again, this was amazing. This was a good talk. How long have we been here now? Let's see now.
Like 2.5 hours.
No, more than that.
3.5
More
hours.
than
Three.
Wow.
Almost
Three
4.
and Three and some change.
Guys, thank
Start
you.
at
Vex
9:30.
once again. I guess we'll see you next week, Vex. Yeah, he's going to be joining us for the reaction.
Probably. Yeah.
Make sure to subscribe to everybody that has been here. Make sure to click that subscribe button for me because I'm more important than them. And yeah,
It's her channel.
and tell everybody about this and show your friends because I keep saying we're awesome. You just got to understand how awesome we are. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm good. Guys, thank you so much. Anything else from you guys want to say? Any videos? Oh, that was loud. These. Razor X235. What's up? Thanks for subbing.
All I'll say is this: the finale had better be it better be a good one, because if not, oh boy, this volume.
Yeah. I still think it's gonna be on a low note, on a what the fuck.
Do you have
note.
do you have a best and worst of this season?
Because
I was thinking about this today.
I can't yet. Not until it's done.
Not yet. I think the worst is either 6 or this past one.
6. Interesting.
6 was
Yeah, the one with the nonsensical scene with the penny framing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, 6 or this one.
Yeah.
And then the best is either 2 or 8. I'll think about it. How about yourself?
Was 2 Coat Gate, Fatman?
Yes, 2 was Coatgate.
Okay. Yeah.
For me, worst is a super tight race, but I think right now I'm leaning towards 4. And to me, best is easy 11.
Oh, whoa, time, whoa, oh my god. Time out.
Whoa.
12 is in my brain. 11 by far one of the best of this entire series. I've lost my mind. 11,
Yeah.
11 is the
You're
best.
trying to forget
by
that
far.
fast?
Because 12 is in my head. 11 was the best by far. 11 was great. I love 11.
11 is easy, the best.
Clear
for
cut.
me.
It's one of the best of the entire series. I'm sorry. Whoa.
Kayan.
Wow.
Stop. Yeah, you're
Wow.
like, I want to forget now. I want to forget.
11 was amazing. 11 was great. Yeah. So
11
6
is.
Yeah, it's amazing. So 6 and 12 were the worst for me, and then 11 was great. Wow.
And I really don't want to say yet until I see all of it.
Yeah.
But Coatgate,
Yeah,
though.
but 4 is bad too. 4 is really bad too.
All right, guys. Thanks for hanging this long. Thank you for everything. Vexed, we'll see you next week. Fatman, I'll see you in like 5 minutes. Don't forget to support your local Dashi Raymond ship. I'm not a dick. I do have one apparently from that picture.
You're not a dick. You just have one.
Yes. I'm the president. And yeah, we'll see you again next week. Hopefully, we get good news on stuff in this show. And I love you all. Thank you so much for joining. And see you next time.
Later, guys.
Bye.